Chapter 1291. The Golden Eagle frowned, looking at the other clansmen who were still rushing over from afar. He could not help chuckling bitterly and said, "Tens of thousands of them are quite a lot, but it's still not enough. There are too many wolves and not enough meat. There are too many eagles and not enough grass." Yunyang looked up and could not help the corners of his lips twitching. Although he had expected that the appearance of the eagle soul grass would cause a commotion, he did not expect it to be so huge. Those who were rushing over, those who were on the way and could be seen with his eyes, were already more than 100,000. Not to mention those who had just moved, those who had not moved, and those whom he had never heard of. Tens of thousands of eagle soul grass was not a small number, but compared to the massive population of the eagle clan, it was really not much. However, this was not a problem to Yunyang. "Emmy, hurry up and grow more eagle soul grass. I don't need the best quality ones. Just the average ones will do. What I want now is quantity, not quality." Ayaya. Emmy knew that the situation was urgent, so it agreed and went to work obediently. Following a loud rumble, the eagle clansmen that were originally gathered here all took to the air and rushed out. Clearly, they were rushing back to their own nests to retrieve the heavenly resources. They had to be fast. There were too many eagles and too little meat. If they were slow, they would definitely not get their turn. Another flock of eagles flew over hurriedly, but after a short pause, they spread their wings and flew away. Another group flew over, and just like before, they flew away as if their butts were on fire. Then another flock, another flock. Finally, the main troop of the eagle clan arrived. An extremely large flock of eagles covered the entire sky. There were at least hundreds of thousands of eagles in this flock. They did not even wait to come down this time, flying away directly and spreading word of mouth that they did not need to come down anymore. Every bit of time was important and precious now. Perhaps the slightest difference in time would cause them to be unable to exchange for the eagle soul grass. There were also those who came one after another, and those who rushed over for the second time after obtaining the heaven and earth treasures. However, such a beautiful prospect made Yunyang suck in a cold breath. I can see that there are already more than 1 million of them now. The further they come, the higher their cultivation base. Isn't the eagle clan widely known to have the weakest reproductive ability among the flying mystical beasts? Why are there so many of them? No, up until now, the true upper echelons of the eagle clan have yet to appear. Even the eagle soul grass isn't enough for them to come personally. Yunyang was anxious. If the higher-ups of the eagle tribe or the royalty did not show up, he might have to adjust his plan. After a while, the first batch of eagle race members arrived with their life's treasures. How many eagle soul herbs can this eagle head ginseng be exchanged for? A black eagle came over with a face full of smiles. "This is a 5,000-year-old eagle head ginseng, a top-grade heavenly treasure." Not even one stalk. Yunyang rolled his eyes coldly. The few golden eagles behind him roared with laughter as well. Obviously, they'd already expected this, yet they were also ridiculing the black eagles for overestimating themselves. What? The black eagle was furious. A 5,000-year-old eagle head ginseng can't even be exchanged for a single eagle soul grass? Are you kidding me? The eagle head ginseng is an exclusive treasure of the eagle clan. It's worth a fortune, and a 5,000-year-old eagle head ginseng is even rarer. However, the situation now is unique. Firstly, my eagle soul grass is top grade and can't be compared to the average eagle soul grass. Your eagle head ginseng is already inferior. Yunyang raised his head. Besides, you didn't see it. The commotion is too big now. There are too many people from the eagle clan who want to trade. It's inevitable that the supply will exceed the demand. It won't be long before the eagle palace comes. They won't let too much eagle soul grass in my hands flow into the market. I believe that I won't be able to sell it to you even if I wanted to then. No matter how you look at it, your eagle head ginseng isn't enough. Wow, even a 5,000-year-old eagle head ginseng is inferior. I can't even get one stalk. The surrounding eagle clan members were speechless. We admit that your eagle soul grass is of top-grade quality. Otherwise, we wouldn't have come back so soon and even offered a 5,000-year-old eagle head ginseng as a test. However, is it really appropriate for you to set such a high price? However, every word of this white fox was reasonable. The rarer something was, the greater its value. It had always been so. Furthermore, his eagle soul grass was of top-grade quality, beyond imagination. Once the royals found out about this, not even a single seed would be left, let alone such a high-grade eagle soul grass. When that time came, he would be utterly disappointed. He had entered a treasure mountain and returned empty-handed. It was as if a pie had fallen from the sky and he had missed it. I have 10 stalks of eagle-head ginseng here, each of them at least 5,000 years old. There's also the eagle stream fruit, the eagle vermilion fruit, and all of them in total for 10 stalks. What do you think? I can't get 10 stalks. I can give you 8 stalks at most. Believe me, you're the first to trade. This is a preferential price. 8 stalks? Can you give me one more? The Black Eagle was indignant and wanted to continue pestering Yun Yang, but the Eagle clan members behind him were already roaring in unison. Faster! You're wasting so much time. What if the royals come? Helpless, the Black Eagle could only hand over the heaven and earth treasures that could be exchanged for 20 stalks of eagle soul grass at the market price, and exchanged for 8 stalks of eagle soul grass. When he walked out of the group of eagles, he felt like crying. He was hoping that his fellow Eagle clan members would help him lower the price, but in the end, they simply wished that he could not buy it. Looking at the expressions of the other Eagle clan members, if he could not even exchange for a single stalk of eagle soul grass, then that would be what they wanted. A bunch of unscrupulous people. To actually encourage a fox to get rich. He cussed in his heart. But looking at the eagle soul grass, the more he looked at it, the more he felt that the quality of the eagle soul grass was indeed high. It was so high that it had never been seen before, and its effects must be exceptionally high as well. It was worth it, worth it. I have 30,000 years old good stuff here. I can always exchange for 2 stalks. It was another iron eagle. No, I can only exchange for 1. At most, the highest quality goods are not ordinary. All right, I'll exchange. I have this. 2 stalks, the quality is not bad. I can exchange for 2 stalks. Do you want to exchange? I have this. A large piece, I have the most. 5 stalks. These can be exchanged for a total of 5 stalks. If you think it's not worth it, wait until next time. And this one. The great purchase had begun. Later on, the atmosphere grew more intense, and there was no longer a proper price. As time passed, time grew more urgent, and the Eagle clan members grew increasingly anxious. The prices were getting higher and higher, and the Eagle clan members were getting more and more desperate. In the beginning, they were aiming to exchange for 10 stalks of eagle soul grass, but now, it was already Yun Yang's mercy to be able to exchange for 2 stalks. All the Eagle clan members were cursing and swearing, but they still had to hold their noses and exchange. There was only one of them. Chapter 1292. Too expensive. Too black-hearted. I exchanged the same resource for 12 stalks just now. Why are you only giving me 2 stalks? Fox, do you want to die? How dare you lower my price like this? The crowd was in an uproar. His curses pierced through the clouds. Yun Yang turned a deaf ear to them. He responded with one sentence. If you want to trade, then trade. If you don't, scram. There were also countless eagles cursing from the periphery. King hell. Hurry up. Your father has been waiting for an hour. Are you all going to drag your feet? It's good enough that you can trade for 2 stalks with your trash. Leave more for your father. Don't run out. Hurry up. Hurry up. Hurry. 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 What are you waiting for? It's not my turn yet. Who the Xueqi is inside now? I want to eat it. Hurry. My little ones are waiting with their necks stretched out. I have a lot of good stuff. Leave some for me, Fox. Hurry, hurry. King scram when you're done. Vulgar language, curses and screams filled this area. The entire place had already become an occasion for collective cursing on the street. Some cursed the fox, some cursed their own clansmen, some cursed the heavens and the earth. Yun Yang was unhurried, receiving the goods and handing over the stalks. The eagles watched with bloodshot eyes. This white fox was too calm, wasn't he? Wasn't he a bastard? Besides, they could not rush him. Once they did, he would stop the transaction and settle the score again. This was infuriating the eagles to death. There were eagles begging from behind. I beg you, let me cut the queue, it's all for my child's future. My little eagle's aptitude isn't that good. Another eagle retorted. Scram! I'm in a hurry. Your family's aptitude isn't that good. Why are you in a hurry? My child is a genius. With this exquisite eagle soul grass, It's enough for him to improve further and become a supreme saint. I. Whoa, it's my turn, whoa. Poof! A kick came. Bastard, it's your turn, why aren't you going? King whoa. 4 hours later, Yun Yang had exchanged more than 10,000 stalks of eagle soul grass. This was the result of Yun Yang's deliberate delay, but the number of eagles that were rushing over from all directions only increased, gathering in greater numbers. At this moment, a deep voice rang out, "Excuse me, I'll change some first, then you can change." Immediately, an eagle scolded. "Why? You think you're the boss? What right do you have to go first?" The eagle who spoke was immediately dragged out. Lai Ying slapped that fellow's head until it was crooked. That thick voice rang out once again, and his words were filled with indifference. "I'm the boss. What happened?" In an instant, the surroundings were deathly silent. With a soft whooshing sound, a path appeared. Yun Yang took a look and saw that it was a supreme saint golden eagle. It walked in with a majestic gait and opened a spatial ring without a word, pouring out the heaven and earth treasures inside like a tidal wave. They were the size of a small hill. How much can these be exchanged for? Yun Yang had only taken a quick glance, but he could not help feeling dizzy. Holy shit! Lai Ying was a tycoon. The heaven and earth treasures he had given out were no less than a few thousand stalks, and there was no lack of superb quality among them. Yun Yang made a simple estimation and said, "These of yours are worth a lot, but my eagle soul grass is superb as well. I can only exchange for 1,000 stalks at most." In reality, Yun Yang would not pay even if he had to exchange for 10,000 stalks if he were to exchange for 1,000 stalks. Putting aside the fact that the eagle soul grass that Yun Yang had given out was only superb in appearance and had ordinary effects, the eagle soul grass could be obtained with a wave of Emmy's hand. The real superb quality could be easily obtained as well. Leaving aside the eagle clan, the eagle soul grass was just grass to Yun Yang, a useless weed. The eagle saint venerable naturally knew that the white fox was driving down the price, but he did not say anything. His eyes narrowed as he said, "It is indeed superb eagle soul grass. 1,000 stalks it is. 1,000 stalks it is. The deal is done." Yun Yang was forthright this time. He kept the items and swiftly lit 1,000 stalks, handing them over. The eagle saint venerable kept the eagle soul grass but did not leave immediately. He turned to the rest of the eagles and said, "Those of you who haven't exchanged yet, as long as you agree to give me 10% of the eagle soul grass you exchange for, I'll wait above the mountain pass. When the royal envoy arrives, I'll think of a way to stop them for 2 hours. How about that?" The eagles looked at the long queue in front of them and did not know how long they would have to wait for their turn. They nodded immediately and said, "Thank you for your trouble. All right. It's a deal. Those who come later must give me at least 1 stalk." The Saint Venerable Golden Eagle rose from the ground and soared into the sky, heading towards the mountain pass in the distance. Yun Yang, who was busy collecting the heaven and earth treasures inside, felt the corners of his lips twitch. F***ck, there was actually such a thing. Where was the eagle's quality, integrity, sense of right and wrong, and race's honor? Was this a protection fee or a scalper? This fellow's brain was pretty good. It was not that there were no Saint Venerables who had come to trade before, and the number of transactions was even higher than this demon's. However, they did not have such a nimble mind, so their gains would most likely not be as good as his. Wave after wave, wave after wave, and wave after wave. Countless members of the eagle race charged forward. Every trader's movements became extremely fast, because every eagle knew that the royal family was about to arrive. Time was of the essence, so they had to settle everything as soon as possible. The eagle soulgrass was definitely a strategic resource of the eagle race, so it should be under the full control of the royal family. All of the eagle race knew this very well. However, any intelligent life form would have their own selfish desires. It was good that the royal family was in charge of it, but if it was all taken away by the royal family, the only outcome would be that they would never have the chance to enjoy the eagle soul grass, much less their children. The demon race would only have status when they were powerful. More than 99% of the ordinary eagle race would not have any hope in this lifetime if they did not have a corresponding opportunity. The eagle soul grass was an opportunity that could not be missed. In reality, most of the people from the eagle tribe who came to trade today were not for themselves, but for their children to consume. Only when their children were strong and had a solid foundation could they have the chance to become stronger in the future. Only then would they have the day to stand out and have the glory of a rising family. If they gave up and missed this opportunity, perhaps there would be no hope for many years to come. It was even more hopeless to hope that their mediocre selves could give birth to experts with powerful bloodlines. Therefore, even though they knew that what they were doing was wrong and not in line with the best interests of the entire race, they had to fight for what was rightfully theirs. Even if they did not deserve it, they had to fight for it with all their might. The path forward was all about the results. The process and so on were just minor details. From afar, there was a faint but powerful aura approaching. That was the royal family making a move. Chapter 1293. The demons of the Eagle clan grew even more frenzied as they traded even faster. Quick, quick, quick. Quick, the royal family is coming. Mine? This is mine. In the end, no one said anything like, the royal family is coming anymore. All the noise slowly disappeared. Only silence was left. They moved even faster. All the actions were carried out in silence. All the Eagle clan members who were still waiting were sweating profusely, their gazes anxious. Only Yun Yang was unhurried and unhurried. He was still the same as before, looking like he was asking for a beating. The arrival of the royal family was the beginning of his real goal. Exchanging for the heaven and earth resources of the Eagle clan now was also his fixed goal. No one would ever complain about having too many heaven and earth resources. In Yun Yang's deific consciousness space, acres upon acres of heaven and earth resources were spreading far away while acres upon acres of eagle soulgrass were growing and being sprouted as well. The new surge of air of vitality had almost dyed the deific consciousness space into a green ocean. Even the air in the air was in a green and viscous state. Drizzles fell continuously, sprinkling on the heaven and earth resources and the eagle soulgrass. All the heaven and earth resources and eagle soulgrass were growing at a speed that could be seen with the naked eye. The source of this growth was the heaven and earth resources that had been sent into the deific consciousness. As they were sent in continuously, the scale was growing, replenishing the new air of vitality. At the mountain pass, the Supreme Saint Golden Eagle kept his promise. He soared up and turned into his original form of 10,000 feet, covering half of the sky as his voice rang out. Emissaries, where are you going? In front of him, a few golden eagles that were glowing in gold did not stop. Golden Eagle 19. We know what you want to do. Seeing that we have known each other for a long time, I advise you to make way quickly. This is a serious matter and has already alerted our emperor. If he is enraged, your tens of thousands of years of cultivation base will be destroyed in a day. It's too late to regret. Eagle 19 smiled faintly. It's just a meeting between old friends and a greeting. Do you have to be so serious? Eagle Soul, you've become more and more indifferent these years. I've always heard that those with high positions and authority are fickle. I didn't believe it at first, but I can't believe it now. 8 golden eagles rushed over with medicine, but they were blocked by Eagle 19. Lai Ying was fearful of Eagle 19's tyrannical strength and didn't want to fight him head-on, so he couldn't help but be in a deadlock. Eagle 19, are you really going to rebel? Hey, Eagle Soul. That's no fun for you. When you were chosen to join the Imperial Guards, all of us held a feast to celebrate you. Do you still remember that day? We were all drunk. Eagle 19 sighed and said, Eagle Soul, we are brothers from a small tribe. After so many years, there aren't many people left. Your cold words really make me feel cold. Eagle Soul was enraged, and his face turned red. Eagle 19, are you going to move or not? His voice and countenance were already severe. Eagle 19's face was full of disappointment and pain as he said, Eagle Soul, you really have changed. The other brothers were right. You have changed. You're no longer the Eagle Soul you used to be. You're no longer the brother you used to be. He let out a long sigh, and then his voice became severe, and his face became cold. Eagle Soul, what do you want to do? Are you going to act against your old brothers? Sure enough, you've become a big official, rich, and used to being in a high position. You no longer put your old brothers in your eyes. Eagle Soul was so angry that he vomited blood. You what? You're an official now, rich, and even more powerful, so naturally you can speak harshly to your old brothers. Eagle Soul, you've changed. You're no longer the good brother we used to be. You've changed. You've become so strange. He said bitterly, Eagle Soul, this power, this official position, is it really that important to you? Do you remember that when you were young, you borrowed 3 Saint Yuan coins from me? It's been so many years, 40 or 50,000 years, and you still haven't returned it to me. I didn't ask you for it either, right? Just because I treat you as a brother, of course my money is your money. Eagle's soul was so angry that he was speechless. Eagle's soul. Is this a tacit agreement? But you can probably calculate how much 3 Saint Yuan coins would be worth 40 to 50,000 years ago, given that prices had skyrocketed for 40 to 50,000 years. Eagle's soul. That's an astronomical figure. I'm afraid you wouldn't be able to afford it even if you sold your entire family. But when did I ask you for it? But you're so heartless and cold-hearted. How can you be worthy of a brother's sincerity? Eagle's soul was so angry that his eyeballs almost popped out. He said word by word, Eagle. 10. 9. Eagle 19 looked up at the sky and sighed. You've changed. You used to call me Brother 19. My voice is still ringing in my ears, but you're already far away. You. My brother is your mother's chicken. Move aside. You dare scold me? Eagle's soul. You dare scold me? Not only did you scold me, but you also scolded my mother? Do you remember that when you were young, my mother gave you a wild vegetable pancake when you didn't have anything to eat? At that time, my family ran out of food. Do you still remember? My mother saved your life, and that's a great kindness. Now, you actually dare to scold her? Are you still a demon? Eagle 19 was furious. Eagle's soul, where's your conscience? Eagle's soul took deep breaths and didn't speak anymore. After a long time, he finally calmed down and shouted, Take him down! Eagle 19 laughed in grief and indignation. Eagle's soul. You ingrate. You're a lunatic. You're heartless, shameless. A torrent of curses poured out of his mouth. You've changed. You've become so strange, so cold. You've changed, and as your brother, my heart hurts so much. Eagle's soul just kept shouting, Take him down! Take him down! Finally, the 8 royal envoys attacked at the same time, targeting Eagle 19. Eagle 19 flapped his wings and flew, shouting in grief and indignation, You've changed! You've changed! Where's my brother? Give me back my brother, Eagle Soul. Give me back my brother. My brother, ah! Eagle Soul's face turned purple, and he spat out a mouthful of blood in the air. His entire body was shaking, and he felt like all the blood in his body was rushing to his head. At this moment, his head was so angry that it almost exploded. Huff, huff, huff. He panted heavily. I'm so angry. I'm so angry. Huff, 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 huff. Commander. We have to hurry over. Huff, huff. Right, huff, huff. Go. As he walked, Eagle Soul spat out a few more mouthfuls of blood, and he was so angry that his mouth was twisted. How many days has it been? Why is a week so long? How many days has it been, everyone? Amp, GT. Chapter 1294. The Eagle Soul was infuriated. It was true that he was the only one with a bright future among the brothers back then, but coming from Eagle Ninth Heaven's mouth, he was going to die from anger. When did I change? How am I not who I used to be? How am I ungrateful? This Eagle 19 was clearly a scoundrel, speaking irresponsibly and spouting nonsense. However, the delay was truly delayed by Eagle 19th for 2 hours, and there was still time to spare. Even when he was above the White Fox's stall selling Eagle Soul grass, the Eagle Soul was still dizzy, his eyes and mouth slanted. He wanted to stop the sale immediately, but once he tried to circulate his chi, he felt dizzy, his blood rushing to his head. He managed to calm his blood and chi and recover before he finally hollered, His Majesty has ordered. Stop the sale of Eagle Soul grass. Bring the sellers into the palace. His voice boomed like a thunderclap. However, the crowd was still in a frenzy as the purchase was still in full swing. There were signs of it growing in intensity, like a final frenzy. It's finally my turn. I'll leave my treasures here. Give me a few, any few. I've left mine here too. Just give me 3 or 5. Mine too. This is mine. Mine, mine, mine. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. At this point, it was no longer 1 or 2 individuals who were tossing the treasures of heaven and earth. Instead, it was a large group of eagles who were fighting to be the first to throw them out. In an instant, the sea of treasures of heaven and earth had buried Yun Yang. At this moment, a golden light shone in the air, dazzling the world. Rays of light shot down and set up special restrictions in the surroundings, isolating all of the Eagle clan members, leaving only the white fox in the center. Behead those who disobey. The order was executed as all the eagles were forcefully banished to the periphery. White fox, do you dare disobey my majesty's order? The eagle soul hollered. Yunyang looked troubled. Of course I dare not disobey Eagle Emperor's order. Follow me immediately if you dare not. No. It's one thing that I dare not disobey Eagle Emperor's order, but these treasures have already been tossed here. Yunyang said awkwardly. The deal has already been established. No matter what, I have to deal with this batch before I can talk about the follow-up. As soon as these words came out, the entire crowd went into an uproar. The scene of the Eagle Emperor token suddenly appeared, and all the Eagle clan members thought that their heavenly materials and earthly treasures were going to go down the drain, but they never thought that there would be such a twist. The Eagle soul said coldly, besides that, if there's another one, then just wait for death. If it were not for Yunyang's last words, the Eagle soul would have taken Yunyang away immediately. However, Yunyang's words were reasonable. If he were to reject it outright, it would definitely incur the wrath of the masses. This would not affect the Eagle sovereign, but it would be extremely disadvantageous to his own people. He could only compromise. No matter how cold his words were and how stern his expression was, he still compromised. Yes, I don't dare. Yunyang quickly took out a bunch of eagle soul grass that looked like they were of the finest grade and kept the heaven and earth treasures, saying apologetically, I'm sorry, everyone. I didn't have the time to look at the valuation. How about we split it evenly among all of you 5 stalks each? The eagle soul said angrily. Faster! Seeing the eagle soul grass that Yunyang had taken out had further agitated the eagle soul. It was already a grave sin for so many eagle soul grass to flow into the common people. However, there was no way to stop the situation. Once it was forcefully stopped, it might even incite a riot. No matter how indignant the Eagle clan members were, they dared not turn against Yunyang on the spot. Seeing that there was no need to go out of the pen to collect water, they said in unison, 5 stalks each is fine too. After the transaction was completed, Yunyang kept the heaven and earth treasures. The matter had come to an end. Follow me back to the palace. The emperor wants to see you. Little Fox is terrified. Faster! 8 golden eagles carried Yunyang, the little fox, as they flew into the distance. The place was filled with complaints. Those who had already exchanged for it were naturally overjoyed, unable to contain their joy. However, there were even more who came late and did not manage to exchange for it, sighing in regret. Everyone, according to the agreement, if the transaction is successful, each of you will get 1 stalk each. I've taken a huge risk just now. Eagle 19 returned, extending his hand with a smile. All the Eagle clan members present rolled their eyes. Did you really want it? However, Eagle 19's ability was not weak. Even if there were others with similar or higher cultivation base, they would not go against him for a stalk of Eagle soul grass. Therefore, all of them pursed their lips and gave him 1 stalk for those who traded for more than 10 stalks. Eagle 19's hands were limp as he took in all the herbs. He had actually collected more than 3,000 stalks. Finally, he had become the other big winner of this transaction. This isn't right. Eagle 19 was puzzled. Didn't the white fox say that it's worth tens of thousands of stalks? These that he gave to me already take up about 1/10 of it. Based on this calculation, the transactions that were given to me as a commission would be at least more than 30,000 stalks. And those that were traded before me. Does this mean that the white fox has taken out more than 100,000 stalks of eagle soul grass for this transaction? Isn't this too much? One of the golden eagles snorted. 100,000 stalks? It's far more than that. There are also those like you who traded for thousands of stalks. I think this white fox has traded for at least 300,000 stalks of eagle soul grass and he probably has more on hand. Tisk! All the Eagle clan members sucked in a cold breath. Isn't this white fox rich now? Many of the Eagle clan's experts with high cultivation base were silent, deep in thought. If I can rob this white fox when he's on his way, won't I become as rich as a country? TSK. This is doable. On the other side, Eagle 19 sat down where Yunyang had been sitting. He kept more than 1,000 of the 5,000 eagle soul grass he had harvested but only took out 4,000 and shouted loudly, selling the eagle soul grass. I don't want the heaven and earth treasures. I only want money. There was another rush to buy it. What? Why are you selling it at such a high price? This price is a few times more expensive than the fox just now. Eagle 19, how can you be so black-hearted? Don't buy it if you think it's too expensive. No one is forcing you to buy it. Eagle 19 rolled his eyes. I've only gotten this little benefit after offending the royal guards just now. If I don't sell it at a higher price, I'll starve. The Eagle clan members were livid with rage. You've just taken the commission from us and now you want to sell it to us? Many of the Eagle clan members turned away in anger, not buying it. However, there were still many who had not gotten their hands on the eagle soul grass, surrounding Eagle 19 in an instant. Mine! Mine! I'll buy it. In the Eagle clan's palace. It was Yun Yang's first time meeting the Eagle Emperor, the top 3 of the Demon Clan's 12 sovereigns. Chapter 1295. The Eagle Emperor's sharp eyes looked at the white fox at the bottom of the stairs, his voice indifferent. You're saying that you have the method to grow the eagle soul grass, the effect is remarkable, and you plan to give this emperor the method to cultivate the eagle soul grass? Yun Yang's face was filled with reverence as he said, It's a fortuitous encounter for little Foxy to obtain the cultivation method of the eagle soul grass. This grass can only be used by eagles, so it's useless in little Foxy's hands. Why don't I offer it to your majesty and contribute to the Eagle clan? I only hope that your majesty will grant me a favor based on little Foxy's sincerity. It's enough for me to be grateful for the rest of my life. What kind of grace do you want? The Eagle Emperor's gaze grew sharper as if he could see through Yun Yang's heart. Hearing that the eagle soul grass, a strategic weapon that could change the fate of the eagle tribe, could be obtained for free, he was still calm and poised. He was worthy of being the ruler of a tribe, someone who would not change his expression even if the heavens and earth collapsed in front of him. The Falcon Sovereign's aura was unusually strong and vast. As one of the 12 sovereigns under the Demon Sovereign and the Falcon Sovereign who was ranked third, Yun Yang felt that this sovereign was much more powerful than the Fox Sovereign. He was almost the strongest person he had seen in the bound of universe. His eyes were so sharp that they seemed to be able to see through people's hearts. There seemed to be vortexes of stars spinning slowly in his eyes. When people looked into his eyes, they would almost be lost in the starry sky. It was a terrifying sight. Reporting to your majesty, the old fox's lifespan has reached its end, and the demonic energy in his body has already solidified. If he wants to take another step forward, it will be even more difficult than ascending to the heavens. The old fox that Yun Yang had transformed into began his performance once more. Solidify. A trace of understanding flashed through the eyes of the Eagle Emperor, and then he fell into deep thought. In the next moment, Yun Yang could clearly feel a wave of mental energy enveloping him entirely. Emmy operated immediately in the deific consciousness space, not daring to reveal any flaws. Fortunately, Emmy, the cheating cheat, was an existence that surpassed the knowledge of this world. Even an unparalleled powerhouse like the Falcon Emperor had to return in defeat, deceived. You are indeed past your prime. Your meridians have solidified, and your demonic energy has solidified. The Eagle Emperor muttered, If you don't break through, you will only have 3 years left at most. A bitter smile hung on Yun Yang's face. Your Majesty has a keen eye. This is what the old fox wishes for. What's your name? Old Fox, white smile. White robe Xiao. Not bad. Are you from the nine-tailed clan? Sigh, this old fox isn't a pure nine-tailed one, but a yellow-skinned nine-tailed one. Yun Yang's old, cunning face wore a pained expression. Yellow-skinned nine-tailed? Look at your white fur. If you didn't reveal it yourself, even this emperor would have misjudged you. The Eagle Emperor finally revealed a smile, then sighed. No wonder, yellow-skinned and nine-tailed, one high grade and one low grade, combining together is an ancient taboo that cannot tolerate bloodlines. And your appearance is white fur, which is a forbidden product of the forbidden. No wonder you're willing to go through so much trouble to beg this king. It's because the Fox clan experts won't help you. This was also obvious. If the experts of the Fox clan wanted to help, why would they need to come here? It's a pity that you've spent so much effort to find this emperor. It's a pity that I can't help you. The Eagle Emperor thought about it and said slowly, If it's just the depletion of your lifespan, it's still manageable. Whether it's the vitality pill or the spiritual herb that can prolong your life, it's not a problem. If that's all you want, you can do it yourself. As for your real problem, I believe you should know that it's the extreme backlash caused by the incompatibility of your bloodline. Unless time is reversed and space is reversed to send you back to your prime, then I can reconstruct your bloodline. Only then can the problem be completely solved. Not to mention that the Eagle clan doesn't have such a foundation. Even if we do, we won't perform it for you just for the cultivation method of the Eagle soul grass. Of course, this little fox understands this. If it's this request, this little fox would never dare ask, Yunyang said gratefully. What this little fox wants isn't the heaven and earth underhanded technique. This little fox has another way to do it, but, please your majesty, have mercy and promise me one thing. The Eagle Emperor pondered, his finger tapping lightly on the throne. What is it? Just say it. It's like this. With Senior's guidance, this little fox has come up with a method to forge a new path of survival. It requires the power of the bound of universe's celestial luck banner and Yunyang said respectfully, although this method only has a 30% chance of success, this little fox still wants to try. This little fox knows that your majesty Eagle Emperor has imprisoned a large number of human cultivators here. So, a sharp glint shone in the Eagle Emperor's eyes as a domineering aura floated. This is the method that your nine-tailed emperor gave you, isn't it? The Eagle Emperor snorted and said angrily, this old fox always scheming this and that behind my back. It's even better this time. He's plotting against me. Yunyang dared not say anything. He dared not say yes or no, letting the Eagle Emperor guess for himself. Bastard old fox. The Eagle Emperor cursed and fell into deep thought. It was obvious that the Eagle soulgrass was a strategic weapon to the Eagle clan. The Eagle Emperor was unwilling to give it up. Even though the white fox before him had violated his taboo, he was still hesitating. Your Majesty, this little fox only needs a month to not harm the human cultivators' lives. Just a month, whether it succeeds or not, it has to retreat from there. Even if it doesn't work, it won't dare to act recklessly. The large amount of heaven and earth resources that you've exchanged for previously, your plan is probably to operate there to increase the chances of success? Asked the Eagle Emperor. Yes. There are indeed considerations in this regard. If your Majesty is kind and allows it, there will be many more heavenly treasures and earthly treasures. After Foxy enters, she will be able to reduce the loss of human warriors. She will be able to fuse her blood and meridians and blood together, and she will be reborn, Yunyang said carefully. The Eagle Emperor nodded. It made sense now. When a human cultivator broke through, his power of providence would increase along with it. As long as the white fox extracted the power of the celestial luck banner from the target human with its arcane skill, it could fuse the blood and purify the forbidden bloodline, allowing the cultivator to be reborn and evolve. It was just that there were too many uncertainties and risks in this method. A month? The Eagle Emperor pondered for a long time and finally said slowly, All right, I promise you. Thank you, Your Majesty. However, you have to hand over the cultivation method of the Eagle soulgrass first. Of course. Yunyang took out a booklet from his robe and some Eagle soulgrass, placing them in front of the Eagle Emperor. Your Majesty, this booklet contains the cultivation method of the Eagle soulgrass that this little fox has researched. Remember the mobile version? Chapter 405, Promise. I promise you. Page 1/1, bookmark for easier reading. Chapter 1296. The Eagle Emperor didn't flip through it. Instead, he waved his hand and told the servant to keep it. He was confident that this white fox demon would not dare to give him a fake one. He didn't have the guts. The Eagle Emperor stood up and said slowly, White fox, there's one more thing that this emperor has to say. The reason why this emperor made an exception is because you've already reached the Saint Venerable realm, the peak combat strength of the demon clan. If you can break through the shackles and take another step forward, the overall combat strength of the demon clan will increase by another level. However, the cultivation method of the human celestial luck banner certainly has a considerable tempering effect on the demon clan, but the changes are unpredictable. His Majesty the Demon Emperor has been working on this for a long time, but the effect is still minimal. I believe the Fox Emperor has vaguely revealed this to you, so you should know the severity of this matter. As for breaking through the bloodline shackles of the demon clan with the help of the power of the celestial luck banner, It is unprecedented. I hope you are mentally prepared. Yun Yang said gratefully. Yes, the senior who taught Foxy has also said so solemnly, but this is Foxy's last chance of survival. Whether it succeeds or not, it has to give it a shot. That's good. The Eagle Monarch said, this emperor will give you a month's time, but there's one more thing that needs to be said first. Your Majesty, please speak. After you go in, you can try to extract the power of the target human's celestial luck banner with a secret technique, but you're not allowed to harm any human inside. If you want to go in, you have to transform into a human and be escorted inside. During this period, no demonic aura can be emitted. Foxy understands. If you succeed, I will form a good relationship with you. If you fail, I will give you an afterlife pill when you come out. It can ensure that your soul is not destroyed. Even if your body is destroyed, you still have a chance of reincarnating as a paragon of the eagle race. At that time, it is not impossible for us to grant you a high position in the Eagle clan. This can be considered as us repaying you for your research on the eagle soul grass. Thank you, Your Majesty, for your great kindness. I am deeply grateful. Yun Yang pretended to be moved to tears and even changed the way he addressed himself as a small animal, no longer calling himself a member of the Fox clan. However, his heart was in turmoil. This eagle emperor was indeed graceful and magnanimous, fully displaying the aura of an emperor. However, just this breadth of mind and methods made him worthy of being an emperor of a generation. If she was really just a demonic fox, she would have already been subdued by the eagle emperor's aura and prostrated herself before him. Go. General Zhua, bring the Fox clans by Yixiao to the underground prison. Do not make any mistakes. Yes. 20 days later. Eagle clan's underground prison. Bai Yixiao of the Fox clan walked out with a solemn expression. How is it? The general of the left asked. It's a success, but it can also be said to be a failure. My condition has improved, but the effect is too little. It should be because the amount is too little. The white-robed fox had a face full of unwillingness. My bloodline's solidified state has already begun to loosen. However, the number of humans here is limited, and there are even fewer experts among them. I can't touch their source, and under the premise that I'm not even the slightest hair on their bodies, it's like trying to put out a burning cart of firewood with a cup of water. It won't help the overall situation, and it's impossible for me to complete the bloodline fusion, much less make a complete breakthrough. The general of the left glared at him. Are you sure your bloodline solidification has improved? It's only loosened by less than 10%. Yun Yang heaved a long sigh. There are millions of human cultivators here, which should be the most in the Demon Emperor's realm. But there are too few experts among them, and the chi of the celestial luck banner that I can obtain is even less. I've tried many times, but the results are still insignificant. The time limit is almost up. The general of the left was speechless. They were all high-ranking officials, and they had been through so much. What kind of tricks had they not seen? This fox spirit clearly had other intentions. No matter what it was, he would just ignore it. When he met the Eagle Emperor and reported the situation, the white fox spirit began to complain again. There are too few humans here. The solidified bloodline has only loosened a little. It's far from reaching the level of improvement. It seems that this is the will of the heavens. No one can help me. The white fox continued to complain incessantly. A faint smile appeared in the Eagle Emperor's sharp eyes. It was a hint of mockery. Bai Yixiao, this lowly creature is here. I've taken your eagle soul grass cultivation method. After trying it out recently, I've confirmed that it's rather effective. This is your credit. However, I've given you what you've asked for. As for the fact that the Eagle clan has imprisoned too few humans, there's nothing I can do about it. Other than us, the Demon Emperor, the Eagle clan has already imprisoned the most humans. If this place can't solve your problem, then it's really the will of the heavens. As for what you're thinking, wanting me to write a letter for you to go to another place of imprisonment and continue with this, I can't do that. The Eagle Emperor directly brought this matter to light. Yun Yang's fox face froze. The Eagle Emperor took 2 steps forward and said faintly, the Fox clan prioritizes scheming and cultivation base. Therefore, I don't think that you're disobedient, nor do I find it strange that you've plotted and acted so pretentiously. However, you're not allowed to fool around in front of me anymore. I can make the decision regarding the Eagle clan's imprisonment. I can bear any consequences. I'll repeat for the last time that your eagle soul grass and cultivation method is a great merit to the eagle clan. That's why I've made an exception and given you the chance to enter the Forbidden Land. However, it's difficult for the other clan's imprisonment grounds to be set foot in. Even if my hand can stretch so far, I can't reach it. Do you understand? The Eagle Emperor stared at the white fox like the eyes of the universe. Little Fox understands. Thank you, Your Majesty. Yun Yang's face was filled with indescribable disappointment. Little Fox is being too wishful thinking. Yun Yang could not help but feel dejected. If the Eagle Emperor was willing to help, if he felt guilty for not getting enough in return for his eagle soulgrass, he could have saved a lot of effort by writing a letter to the other flying clans. However, the Eagle Emperor did not do so. How could Yun Yang not be disappointed? It's good that you understand. If there's nothing else, you may leave. The Eagle Emperor said faintly. Left General, give him a rebirth pill. Yes, Your Majesty. Walking out of the Eagle Clan's palace, Yun Yang heaved a long sigh of relief. There was no other reason but the pressure that the Eagle Emperor had given him was too much. If it were not for Emmy's full support and all-encompassing shielding, the Eagle Emperor might have noticed his signs of transformation. The Eagle Emperor is a dangerous character indeed, second only to the Demon Emperor in the Demon Clan. Yun Yang thought to himself, although it's not a complete success this time, the Eagle Clan's soul-devouring tree has been destroyed. I should leave as soon as possible and go to the other flying clans to come up with a countermeasure. Where should I go? Where? Chapter 1297. Walking out of the Eagle Clan's settlement, Yun Yang sprinted with all his might. It took him 2.5 days, but he still could not leave the Eagle Clan's territory. Unsurprisingly, Yun Yang had been ambushed ever since he left the Eagle Clan's imperial city. The Eagle Clan's experts, especially the grassroots experts, had come to stop him. Any race, any living being, would not lack greed. Yun Yang had so many treasures on him. How could the Eagle Clan not be tempted? Once he killed this white fox, it would be like ascending to the heavens in a single step. Although Yun Yang had revealed his Supreme Saint cultivation base before, the demon foxes were not known for their combat prowess in the demonic realm. There was also a rumor that the reason why this white fox had caused such a huge commotion was because of the abnormality of its body, making it difficult for it to unleash its full strength. Not only did the Supreme Saint experts see Yun Yang as a prey in the bag, the Royal Saint experts also formed groups of 3 to 5 to ambush him, sharing the risk. There were even a lot of Royal Saint Eagles who joined forces in a futile attempt to surround and attack Yun Yang, taking advantage of the situation. It was a pity that they had grossly underestimated Yun Yang's ability. Yun Yang had slaughtered his way through and killed all the Eagle Clan's experts who came to kill him, without exception. Over 47,000 miles. He had been ambushed more than 70 times, but all of them had failed and were buried in foreign lands. This also added to Yun Yang's collection of 7 Supreme Saint Beast Cores, 7 Supreme Saint Eagle Corpses, more than 50 Royal Saint Beast Cores, and more than 400 Royal Saint Beast Cores. Fighting and killing along the way, the eagles killed the eagles and the demons killed the demons. He killed until his eyes were bloodshot and his sleeves were golden. He continued the legend of the richest man in the bound of universe. He had crossed 2 great rivers in between, but these 2 rivers did not have the strange fish from the previous river. This disappointed Yun Yang greatly. Why were there no such adorable fish in other rivers? During this time, he had also seen the edge of the demonic soul sea of the Demon Clan, but Yun Yang did not dare enter that sea. In that river alone, there were already many golden fish that were strong enough to imprison his transformation. Then, how strong would the legendary Demon Clan's Forbidden Sea be? This was an unimaginably terrifying and insignificant risk. It was almost certain that those golden fish were not qualified to be the overlords of the sea. Otherwise, they wouldn't have stayed in the river for so long. The less trouble, the better. It's not that I'm afraid, it's just that my mission is urgent and I don't have time to deal with those fellows in the sea. Wait until I'm strong enough in the future, I'll definitely kill them all and take revenge for what happened that day. On this day, Yun Yang had finally left the Eagle Clan's territory. He took out the Demon Clan's map and studied it carefully, planning his next move. Next, let's go to the Eagle tribe. Yun Yang looked at his current location. The Condor Clan's settlement was not far from here, only 20,000 miles away. He thought back to the Golden Condor King he had met previously. At that time, he had felt that the Golden Condor King was incomparably powerful. Now, It seemed that the Golden Condor King was only at the Saint Venerable level. With such a cultivation base, if the Golden Condor King was of noble birth, he would be able to become a king in the Golden Condor race. However, he would not be ranked in the entire Condor race. The Eagle tribe was similar to the Eagle tribe in that there were many different species. But then again, the status of the Golden Condor King that he encountered that day would not be too low. It should be similar to the Crane Clan's Sky Crown King. Can we make use of it? Yun Yang pondered. This fellow had been frightened by his purple jade flute back then. If he went to scare it again, would there be a better effect? As he thought about the feasibility of this plan, he did not slow down at all as he sped towards the Condor clan's territory. The Eagle clan's palace. Your Majesty, that white smile of the Fox clan is too vicious. General of the Left was furious as he rushed over in a huff. Oh, what's wrong? After that white fox left the palace, he swiftly left our clan's territory. However, on his way out, many from the Eagle clan came up with the idea of killing him and robbing him of his riches. Unexpectedly, this old fox's ability was beyond imagination. All those who stood in his way were killed by him, even their demonic cores were taken. General of the Left said angrily, "It's fine if he killed them. After all, it was his clansmen who robbed first, they deserve to die. However, it's fine if he killed them, but he destroyed their corpses and even took their demonic cores. This is too much. It's treacherous and goes against human morality." The Eagle Emperor's eyes were half-lidded as he said faintly, "As long as a demon lives, the plants and trees are in autumn. Cultivators of our generation are either pursuing the Tao or seeking immortality. As a supreme saint cultivator, he has his own dignity. He doesn't have much time left and is struggling for his life. Yet, at such a time, there's a demon who wants to rob him of his riches. How is this any different from robbing him of his last chance of survival? How can he not seek revenge? If all of you were at the last moment of your lives, facing death, and encountered such a despicable act, would it become even worse? Would you still have more scruples?" The Eagle Emperor waved his hand. "There's nothing strange about this. Since he's already left our territory, let him be." General of the Left lowered his head. "Yes." He then asked excitedly, "Your Majesty, the eagle soulgrass, can it really be cultivated?" A rare smile hung on the corners of the Eagle Emperor's lips. "It can indeed be cultivated. Although the cultivation process is slightly slower, at least it can ensure that the eagle soulgrass won't go extinct. Besides, the tens of thousands of eagle soulgrass that we obtained from Bai Yixiao are of excellent quality. As long as they grow, they can be replanted. As long as we don't use them for 10 years, we can increase the production to hundreds of thousands of stalks every year. This is a great blessing for the Eagle clan. Congratulations, Your Majesty. God bless our clan." The Eagle clan's experts and higher-ups were overjoyed. If they could produce hundreds of thousands of stalks of eagle soulgrass every year, who knew who would be the strongest among the demon clan 100 years later? It's a pity that there are so many eagle demons in the clan who don't care about the bigger picture and only care about their own. Otherwise, the Eagle clan's ability will definitely rise to a higher level. It's normal for demons, don't mind it. The Eagle Emperor waved his hand indifferently. Yun Yang had already snuck into the Eagle clan's territory. The first thing he did was to investigate the background of the Golden Condor King, who had entered the bound of universe back then, as well as his name. This matter was naturally difficult to investigate, but it was not to the extent of being too difficult to investigate. When the Golden Condor clan had gone out to abduct humans, they had sent out many experts, but they had returned with heavy casualties. This was not a trivial matter, no matter how one looked at it. After spending some effort, traveling 7,000 miles and asking 3 cities of the Eagle clan, he finally found out the whereabouts of the Golden Condor King. However, after thinking for a long time, Yun Yang changed his mind at the last minute and decided not to scare the Golden Condor King. Once he did so, there was a high chance that his human identity would be exposed. Whether or not the other party would buy it was one thing, but it was too risky to expose his identity. "I've already done it twice. There's no harm in doing it again. I'll just use the fox's identity." Yun Yang sighed helplessly. He was really going to trap the Fox Emperor until he died. It was too unethical. This sect leader feels very guilty in my heart. He thought of how troubled the Fox Emperor would be when this matter broke out. Yun Yang sighed. "If it really doesn't work out, You can come to the bound of universe and seek shelter from me. I've actually done it in a week. Surprise. But I'm really exhausted. I'll rest for 2 days. These few days, I'll maintain it by 2 hours a day. Then, after I've rested, we'll continue to do it again. Chapter 1298. Also, what was the Condor tribe going to use to open up the situation? The Crane tribe had used the amethyst honey to open up the situation due to the White Bear tribe. The Eagle tribe had long planned to use the Eagle Soulgrass as an opportunity. How was the Condor tribe going to deal with it? What did the Condor tribe prefer? Yun Yang had to calm himself down and ask around. He had gotten the clue about the Eagle Soulgrass when he stayed in Tian-Fa Holy Land for more than a month and found out that the mystical Eagle tribe in Tian-Fa Holy Land lacked the Eagle Soulgrass but claimed that their situation was 100 times better than the demons. That was how Yun Yang came up with a plan. However, this method could not be replicated with the Condor tribe. Other than knowing a little about the Golden Condor King, Yun Yang was not familiar with the other aspects of the Condor race. Realizing that his own knowledge of the Condor race was too limited, Yun Yang had turned into one and tried his best to gather information for half a month, going through countless books and documents related to the Condor race. Then, something called the Golden Marrow fruit entered his line of sight at the right time. The Golden Marrow fruit is a specialty of the demon race. This fruit tastes great and was once used as a premium spiritual fruit in banquets. It was later discovered that this fruit can also promote the evolution of the Condor tribe's blood marrow, increasing the tribe's potential. Other than that, the more golden marrow fruits one consumes before cultivating, the faster one's cultivation progress will be. It's extinct now. The golden marrow fruit's condition is the same as the Eagle Soulgrass. But why has Tian-Fa Holy Land never heard of the existence of this fruit? Yun Yang stroked his chin. As long as he could achieve his goal, he did not mind doing it again. Emmy, can you get a batch of these golden marrow fruits? Yun Yang asked. Emmy looked at the golden marrow fruit's characteristics and whimpered a few times, looking rather reluctant. Its attitude was different from the time when it had the Eagle Soulgrass. The Eagle Soulgrass was rare and difficult to find in the demon-type Eagle clan, but it grew in the Holy Land of Tian-Fa. Emmy did not need to expend extra energy, and could easily grow a lot of this spiritual plant. However, not only was the golden marrow fruit extinct in the demon-type Eagle clan, it was probably extinct in the Holy Land of Tian-Fa as well. It would have to create something out of nothing if it wanted to reappear. Although they could still be produced, the process required a large amount of life energy. They had to put several heavenly treasures that were similar to each other and fuse their life energy to transform them into a brand new plant. Moreover, it had to be accelerated and matured quickly in order to give birth to the mother plant. All of these required a large amount of energy. As for Emmy, who was used to only taking in and not giving out, it was rather displeased. It felt that it was a typical thankless effort if it did not convert. Emmy, you must help this time. Yun Yang said seriously. This fruit is related to the success or failure of this trip. There is no room for error. Ayaya. Emmy waved its vine around in dissatisfaction. You make it sound so easy, but do you know how much energy it takes to create something out of nothing? All you need to do is to move your lips and give out orders. However, I'm the one who does the work and pays the price. What's consumed is my wealth. Do you know about my wealth? As long as you can make it, I can guarantee that you will be able to get 10 times the amount of heavenly treasures from the Condor tribe. Furthermore, it's at least 10 times. Yun Yang's offer was one that Emmy could not refuse. Ayaya. Emmy was still a little reluctant, but it had already begun its work. From its perspective, a mere 10 times profit could not even be compared to its own efforts. It should at least be like what it did with the Eagle tribe, exchanging for 1,000 times the profit of heaven and earth treasures. And this was under the premise that the exotic metals and demon cores were not included. 10 times, how dare you say that? The corners of Yun Yang's lips twitched. The Eagle Soulgrass was a material object and there were many finished products from the Holy Land of Tian-Fa. Whether it was growing it separately or cultivating better seeds, it was as easy as flipping one's hand. It could be easily grown and the profits would be unimaginable. However, the golden marrow fruit was already extinct, whether it was in the realm of demons or the Holy Land of Tian-Fa. Since it was extinct, there had to be an actual fruit tree first. I'll try my best. Just you wait. Emmy grumbled in dissatisfaction and began to work. A full 10 days had passed. Emmy was indeed a unique life form that surpassed this world. It managed to cultivate the golden marrow fruit very quickly, even producing the first batch of 3,000 golden marrow fruits. What followed next was much easier. In his deific consciousness, patches of golden marrow fruit trees spread out continuously. 1 acre, 2 acres, 3 acres, 100 acres. The crucial golden marrow fruit was also produced continuously, hanging on the branches as they ripened one by one. Yun Yang set up his stall in the Eagle tribe's territory once again, setting up a trading stall. Selling golden marrow fruits. This sudden roar immediately caused countless condors to rush over upon hearing it, causing an endless uproar. The location Yun Yang had chosen this time was outside the Eagle tribe's capital. However, the plan was still to purchase a batch of heaven and earth treasures to fill Emmy's gap, then use the golden marrow fruits as a stepping stone. Unsurprisingly, the frenzied buying scene of the Eagle tribe followed suit in the Eagle tribe's territory. However, what Yun Yang did not expect was, he had set up his stall for 2 days before the Eagle tribe's royalty finally arrived. This efficiency was infuriatingly slow. The Eagle tribe's reputation of being the laziest among the flying races of the demon race was indeed well-deserved. Fortunately, the final outcome was similar to what Yun Yang had imagined. In fact, as long as the right strategy was found, no matter which race it was, as long as they found the right person, met the emperor, and the other party had the bearing of an emperor, the process would be as smooth as before. The so-called emperor of a race was already calculating. It was no longer a matter of temporary gains and losses. Karma was even more important. If they were to forcefully seize it, there would inevitably be inner demons growing on the path of a saint. The path forward would be obstructed and the gains would not make up for the losses. A month later, all the soul-devouring trees in the Eagle tribe's underground prison were on the brink of death. Yun Yang still looked disappointed, as if he was disappointed that his wish had not been fulfilled. He stepped out of the Eagle tribe's territory reluctantly. In the palace behind him, the Eagle Emperor said, "Wishful thinking. The demon fox is too naive. He actually wants me to write him a letter to go to another prison." Humph. Wishful thinking. Thinking that he had actually made a deal with a lowly little fox like you, the Eagle Emperor was rather displeased. "Leave immediately. Never come back." The Eagle Emperor's meaning was clear. Scram. "I don't want to see you again." Therefore, Yun Yang left immediately. Even if the Eagle Emperor did not ask him to leave, sect leader Yun would have left in a hurry. Besides, he did not want to come back in this lifetime. "Do I need you to chase me away? Your father didn't want to come at all. The soul-devouring trees are already useless. Why would I come back?" Chapter 1299. Yun Yang left proudly as well. Greedy people were plentiful no matter which tribe they came from. How could Yun Yang not attract attention when he carried a huge sum of money? There was still a large group of Eagle Clan experts who came to intercept him, but they left the nest like the Eagle Clan. Yun Yang killed every single one of them. A large number of spirit pills appeared in Yun Yang's deific consciousness space once again. "Emmy, how is it? Are you satisfied now?" "Ew." Emmy worked contentedly in the space, taking care of and cultivating the newly received heaven and earth treasures. The result was better than Yun Yang had expected. The profit from the sale of the golden marrow fruits this time was more than 10 times the profit. More than half of the Condor tribe's heaven and earth treasures had been looted by Yun Yang. The golden marrow fruits' properties were similar to the eagle soul grass. However, while the eagle soul grass was mostly kept by the royal family, it could still be seen occasionally among the common folk. The golden marrow fruit, on the other hand, had long been extinct and could not be found in the entire bound of universe. Naturally, there was a difference between the two. Even though Yun Yang had set the price at an exorbitant price, much higher than that of the eagle soul grass, the rush to buy them had not stopped. The buyers only wanted to buy the golden marrow fruit and did not bargain at all. In addition to the delay of the Eagle Clan's royal family, the golden marrow fruits that Yun Yang had sold were much more than the eagle soul grass that he had sold in the Eagle Clan. Therefore, the heaven and earth treasures that he had obtained had expanded his deific consciousness space to more than 150 acres. The profit was more than 1,000 times, not to mention the rare metals and metals. The rare metals that had piled up in Yun Yang's space had become a real mountain due to Emmy's lack of time to deal with them. He didn't dare to say much, but he definitely had at least a few billion kilograms. The huge change in his deific consciousness space had indirectly driven the rapid improvement of Yun Yang's cultivation base. His mystical chi cultivation base was improving visibly every day. With the endless divine art, He was also advancing. The interception between the two clans had provided Yunyang with a sea of karmic chi that did not pale in comparison to Crown King Crane Jotian. Now, Yunyang's mystical chi cultivation base had been pushed from the beginner of the second level of Supreme Saint to the pinnacle of the intermediate level. One more step and he would be able to step into the advanced level. The sixth tier of the Endless Divine Art was also nearing completion, and was beginning to advance towards the seventh tier. Yunyang had polished the first 6 forms of the Divine Edge over and over again, to the point where he was extremely familiar with them. Their power was growing stronger and stronger. To put it bluntly, Yunyang's current combat power had increased more than 3 times as compared to when he had just entered the demon realm. His control over his force had also increased by more than 10 times. The Demon Peacock Emperor's realm is indeed a treasure trove for me. My cultivation and strength have improved tremendously. Yunyang was pleased with himself as he flew towards his next target, the rock race. It had been almost 3 months since he had come to the Demon Peacock Emperor's realm and left the Crane clan. Who knew when these clans would discover the abnormality of the soul-devouring tree? He had to seize the time to do something. There were many demon races that could fly, but there were only a few that could fight. For example, the eagle race, the rock race, the crane race, the condor race, the phoenix race, the peacock race, the dragon race, the vulture race, and a dozen other large flying combat races. Yunyang had destroyed 3 of them now, and among them, the eagle race had the highest number of prisoners among the demon race. The crane race and the condor race were only average. The rock race, on the other hand, was a flying race that was second only to the eagle race. As for the dragon and phoenix races, Yunyang had never planned to go there from the beginning. The dragon race was the royal race of the demon race while the phoenix race was the royal race. These 2 races were the most mysterious and also the strongest among the demon race. Yunyang felt that there was a high chance that he would never be able to come out if he went there, so he might as well not take the risk. As for the other races, the number of prisoners was very small, so Yunyang did not think much of it. If I can successfully deal with the rock race, I'll go to the vulture and peacock races when I have the time. If I don't have the time, then forget it. Based on what I've gained now, I'm actually halfway done. Instead of continuing to target the soul-devouring tree, it's better to hurry back and report the situation here. This is the only way to solve the root of the problem. Unique spiritual materials that have been lost in history have appeared one after another. If someone with the intention of connecting them, there's a high chance that they can deduce the truth. If I'm exposed to the entire demon race's encirclement, it's really hard to guarantee my safety. I wanted to go to the monkey race to find out more about Mr. Nian, but it seems like I don't have the time now. Yunyang calculated in his heart. What did the rock race like? Yunyang began to ponder and discuss with Emmy as he hurried on his way. Emmy began to work overtime to produce spiritual roots of Kuanping in batches. This was what the entire rock race desired the most. Its effect was similar to the eagle soul grass of the eagle race and the golden marrow fruit of the condor race. The only difference was that the spiritual root of Kuanping existed in the world and was not considered rare in the rock clan. The biggest reason why Yunyang was still researching this item was that it could only have a significant enhancement effect when it reached an upper-class quality and above. 99% of the spiritual roots of Kuanping that circulated in the rock clan were middle-class or lower-class ones. The spiritual roots that Yunyang had asked Emmy to produce were at least of superior quality, and many of them were even of heaven quality. Spiritual roots of Kuanping of such quality were definitely not found in the entire rock race, but they were also irreplaceable items that they dreamed of. To Yunyang, he was not afraid of them having requests. He was afraid of them having no desires. In fact, Yunyang wanted to go to the dragon race the most. The dragon race loved all kinds of treasures. These did not even require any capital. Yunyang had plenty of them at home. What about mystical crystals, ethereal amethysts, and supreme-grade spiritual jade? He believed that these would have a huge market in the dragon race. If push came to shove, he could ask Emmy to forge a few treasured sabers and blades from those exotic metals or some other exquisite items. He did not believe that the dragon race would be able to resist it. The brighter they were, the better they would be punished in the dragon race's market. On the other hand, what the dragon race did not care about to the extreme were the treasures of heaven and earth. That was the place to make a fortune, but it was something that could only be seen but not reached. Yunyang sighed in his heart. The rock race should be able to give him some surprises. 1.5 months later, Yun Yang ended his journey in the rock race smoothly. As he walked out of the rock race's imperial city, he was intercepted as usual. Yun Yang had long expected such an encounter. He was almost used to it, so he killed them without hesitation. However, towards the end, when he was about to walk out of the rock race's territory, Yun Yang was met with an unprecedented high-ranking attack. On that day, the sky behind Yun Yang blocked out the sun as his wings covered the sky. On this day, not only were there many rock race civilians who had chased after him like before, there were also many members of the rock race's royal family who had joined in the battle. If that was all, Yun Yang would not have minded it much, although he was surprised. Perhaps the members of the royal family were impressive in the eyes of other demons, and they would not kill them under normal circumstances. However, who was Yun Yang? To him, the so-called royal family was no different from the other rock race civilians. What harm was there in dying? However, what truly shocked Yun Yang was that there were two Saint Lord-level Rock Clan pinnacle experts among the pursuers. Saint Lord-level experts were the pinnacle of the demon race, existences that transcended the limits of authority and status. Of course, with such a cultivation base, the status of these two in the rock race had long been said to be second only to the rock race, but above all the rock race. They themselves possessed a high position that surpassed the level of a prince. Such combat power would not appear unless it was a decisive battle between humans and demons, or if the race was in danger of being annihilated. However, these two had chased after him personally today. Yun Yang's heart skipped a beat. T. There was only one explanation. The matter of the soul-devouring tree had been exposed. Yun Yang's guess was right. The demon race had indeed found out about the soul-devouring tree. I've been exposed. I've been exposed. My secret stash has been exposed once again. Apt. Chapter 1300. Yun Yang's guess was right. The demonic race had indeed found out about the soul-devouring tree. And it was not just recently. This matter could be traced back to 2 months ago, when the Eagle clan was the first to discover the problem with the soul-devouring tree. The Eagle Emperor had been happy for a long time because of the Eagle Soul Grass, thinking that the day when the Eagle clan's overall strength would increase greatly was not far away. It was only a matter of time before they replaced the Dragon clan as the strongest race in the realm of demons. However, he was surprised to notice that the demonic Soul Jade, which used the soul-devouring tree as a medium to absorb the power of the celestial luck banner and the heir of reproduction, had not changed at all recently. Yun Yang had initially thought that the soul-devouring tree's method of absorbing the heir of reproduction from the imprisoned humans and the power of the celestial luck banner would take a long time to see results. On the other hand, it should be difficult to notice that the soul-devouring tree was no longer providing energy for a considerable period of time. Yun Yang's judgment was not wrong, but he did not know that when the demonic race was using the soul-devouring tree, they were also using the demonic soul jade that was unique to the demonic realm. The demonic soul jade specialized in absorbing the stolen aura and would change color accordingly. Generally, the demonic soul jade's initial state was snow white. As it absorbed the air of human life, it gradually turned from pure white to pale red, then pink, then bright red, then dark red, and finally black. Then, it could be exchanged for 2 new pieces of demonic soul jade, and the cycle repeated endlessly. This time, however, it was only pale red. There was no change for a long time, and something was amiss. Considering the old fox's words, he might have absorbed a considerable amount of human life and caused a certain degree of negative impact. To be on the safe side, the Eagle clan's experts observed patiently for a few more days and confirmed that there was still no change in the demonic soul jade, so they simply exchanged it for 2 new pieces of demonic soul jade. After a month, the demonic soul jade was still white and flawless. It did not make sense that there was no abnormality. Under normal circumstances, the demonic soul jade should have a pale red texture after 3 to 5 days. Another month should be enough for it to turn pale red. The fact that the demonic soul jade had not changed for a whole month was a serious matter. The gatekeeper reported it to the Eagle Sovereign immediately. At this moment, Yun Yang was already on his way to the Rock Tribe and was almost there. After the Eagle Emperor found out about this matter, he did not rush to a conclusion and began to investigate. At the same time, he changed 2 new demon soul jades and sent people to observe for 5 days. Finally, he confirmed that there was a problem. Then, he checked the formation in reality. After confirming that it was fine, the Eagle Emperor personally entered the underground prison to check on the condition of the soul-devouring trees. Only then did he realize that although the tens of thousands of soul-devouring trees were still alive, their vitality was greatly weakened and they were on the verge of death. They only had the instinct to struggle for their lives, and they could no longer respond to the formation to seize the life of humans and the power of the celestial luck banner. If he were to wait for the soul-devouring tree to recuperate and fully recover, it would take at least 1,000 years. This fact was like a bolt out of the blue to the Eagle Emperor. As the Eagle Emperor thought about it, he immediately thought of that despicable white fox, White Smile. This must be the fault of this demon, causing such a change. Thus, he made a prompt decision and immediately gave the order to capture Bai Yi Xiao. We must capture him alive. The Eagle Emperor was still holding on to the possibility that Bai Yi Xiao had extracted the life of the soul-devouring tree in order to survive, and did not deliberately affect the operation of the prison. After all, Bai Yi Xiao was a genius in cultivating spiritual plants, and it would be a pity to kill him directly. The Eagle Emperor's order was earth-shattering, and his murderous aura enveloped the entire territory of the Eagle Clan. The experts of the Eagle Clan swarmed out. Then, the Eagle Emperor began to contact the Eagle Clan. On the Eagle Emperor's side, he was still immersed in the joy of obtaining the golden marrow fruit. When he heard this news, he was instantly dumbfounded. Wasn't that fox called Bai Yi Xiao? He was called Hu Jiugong. Was he a fox? He couldn't be a fox, right? But he had already left. He had already left for so many days. Then, he immediately went to check, and immediately discovered the problem. The Eagle Emperor almost collapsed. The experts of the two clans began to hunt him down at the same time. And it was also at this time that the Crane clan also discovered that something was wrong. They began to investigate. Naturally, they found the Heavenly Crown King. The poor Heavenly Crown King had yet to recover from his injuries when he was captured and thrown into prison. Without torture, he confessed about the Crown Prince of the Fox Clan. Therefore they began to investigate this Crown Prince of the Fox Clan, and at the same time, they ordered the capture of the relevant demon members, such as Crane Jiutian. However, upon further investigation, they realized that Crane Jiutian and the other Supreme Lords were no longer in Heavenly Crown City, and no one knew where they had gone. Even the friends and acquaintances who had investigated Crane Jiutian were no longer around. After much investigation, they found out that Crane Jiutian had contacted many experts, but their whereabouts were unknown. It was said that they had found a place to hide, and were prepared to serve the Crown Prince of the Fox Clan. The Crane Emperor was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. No matter how miraculous it was, the investigation had to continue, and the target was set on that Violet, the so-called Crown Prince of the Fox Clan. When all of this happened, Yun Yang had just come out of the Rock Clan's prison. He had just finished the Rock Clan's farewell banquet, and after drinking to his heart's content, he had left Peng City leisurely. The Crane Emperor, Eagle Emperor, and Eagle Emperor began to report this news. The Demon Emperor began to thoroughly investigate all the flying races, and the spiritual message quickly reached the Rock Clan. Emperor Rock was shocked when he heard the news, but he immediately ordered the capture. The feedback was that Yun Yang had already left the city. He had left the city. This was simply. Emperor Rock almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Thus, he sent experts to chase after Yun Yang. It was unknown whether it was fortunate or unfortunate. The first batch of pursuers sent by Emperor Rock did not lack members of the royal family, but the strongest one was only a supreme lord. After all, in Emperor Rock's eyes, it was enough to send 3 pinnacle second-grade Supreme Lords to hunt down a beginner second-grade Supreme Lord Fox. Yun Yang, who had long been used to being hunted and intercepted, and whose strength had increased greatly, killed everyone at once. He did not realize the true intentions of the Royal Rock clan. It just so happened that there was new progress in Heavenly Crown King's interrogation. He confessed that the Crown Prince of the Fox Clan had a genuine Fox King's blood token. It was definitely not a fake. In other words, at least his identity as a member of the Fox Clan was not fake. This matter was too important, and the sovereigns of the various races could no longer bear it. They immediately reported it to the Demon Emperor. The entire demon race had been turned upside down. The Demon Emperor was greatly enraged. One had to know that after the Crane Emperor, Eagle Emperor, and Eagle Emperor were unlucky, Emperor Rock was also unlucky. And now, the Fox Emperor was implicated. This was a total of 5 sovereigns. How could this be? Chapter 1301. Among the 12 emperors, the Rock Emperor, the Eagle Emperor, the Eagle Emperor, the Fox Emperor were all among them. 1/3 of the 12 emperors were involved in this matter, not to mention the Crane Emperor. This was an earth-shattering case. Once more unforeseen events occurred, perhaps the story of the 9 Lives Demon Cat clan would repeat itself. It might even be bigger than the 9 Lives Cat Demon clan. It was much bigger. The entire demon clan would be shaken. The current demon clan could not withstand such a huge upheaval. The demon emperor immediately ordered the lockdown of the demon clan. Seeing that the situation was getting out of control, he immediately set up a special task force to deal with this matter. No matter what, get to the bottom of this matter. This is something that will shake the foundation of the demon clan. Thinking about how the underground prison that had been set up for countless years and consumed countless demonic powers was suddenly destroyed, the demon emperor was furious. He even had the intention to kill the eagle emperor and the other emperors. Your Majesty, the fox emperor is the biggest suspect. He has always been at the Blood Soul Mountain and has never come to the demon palace to pay his respects. There are many reasons for this. But now, something like this suddenly happened. It's very strange. Please arrest the 9-tailed white fox and bring him to justice. Elder Azure Dragon stood up immediately and spoke passionately. The demon emperor's heart was in turmoil. Although the fox emperor might not betray them, this matter was definitely related to him. One must know that not every demon clan could get the fox emperor's personal token. This matter must be dealt with as soon as possible. Your Majesty, if the humans find out, the consequences will be unimaginable. All the elders were deeply worried. The demon emperor hesitated for a moment and immediately called for a meeting. After a discussion, he sent a group of experts to the fox clan to contact the fox emperor. The demon emperor even gave a strict order. If the fox emperor returned obediently, then so be it, but if there were any abnormalities, he could be killed on the spot. At this critical moment, we cannot afford any mistakes. Everyone, if anything happens, you can handle it as you see fit. The Dragon Emperor gave such an order very carefully. The Azure Dragon Elder immediately led 9 experts and a total of 10 Saint Monarchs to carry out the order. I will definitely get to the bottom of this matter. Be careful. Yes. Smoke and dust billowed as the Azure Dragon Elder led the team away. Seeing the Azure Dragon Elder leave, the Spirit Demon King felt as if he had overlooked something. However, at this moment, his internal organs were burning with anxiety. He was so anxious that blisters formed on his lips, but he couldn't remember what it was. Then he was so busy that his feet didn't even touch the ground, completely forgetting about it. On the other hand, the entire sky was turned upside down. In the entire Demon Peacock Emperor's realm, trillions of demons moved at the same time. Capture Violet, Smiling White-Clothed, Hu Jiao, and 13th Brother Jade Fox. Of course, these foxes were all the same. Speaking of which, the rock race had mixed feelings. They had just finished drinking with him and happily sent him off. Then they immediately found out that he was a big liar, a big spy. The most important thing was to quickly arrest him and bring him to justice. When Emperor Rock received the news, all the rocks in the royal family, who had been drinking with the old fox over the past few days, were dumbfounded. Everyone is so congenial. But you're actually a spy. It was actually a spy. Fortunately, the rock race had greedy people chasing after the fox race's liar, so they did not have to worry about losing track of 13th Brother Jade Fox for the time being. Otherwise, Emperor Rock's men might not be able to catch up. Yun Yang, who was in the midst of battle, knew that things were not looking good when he saw the sky full of pursuers behind him. Greedy as he was, he knew the severity of the situation. He did not even care about the demon cores that he had yet to collect as he transformed into a water manifestation and dashed into a small river nearby. In reality, his real self had turned into a breeze and soared into the sky, soaring with all his might. Mamma mia! So scary. I'm so scared. By the time the rock race's Saint Lords arrived nearby, Yun Yang was long gone. In the time it took to catch its breath, the martial arts experts attacked together, turning the small river into a desert. However, no matter how much time had passed, whether it was a river or a desert, the detestable fox was nowhere to be seen. There was no trace of him at all. They had sealed the sky, sealed the ground, and sealed off the space. Every method they had used was useless. This guy, how could he just disappear like that? He had vanished without a trace under everyone's watchful eyes. The rock race's experts were so furious that their lungs almost exploded. At the same time, Many of the Kuan Peng spiritual roots that the Peng race had just obtained suddenly began to wither and turn into dregs in an extremely short amount of time. Only those that had already taken the Kuan Peng spiritual roots could be considered to have benefited. From this moment onwards, the rock race had lost the spiritual roots of Kuan Peng once again. The golden marrow fruits of the eagle race were the same. The area in the palace's secret grounds, where the golden marrow fruit trees were cultivated, was filled with a sense of death. There was no sign of life as all the fruit trees had withered. The eagle race's eagle soulgrass was even worse. All of them had turned into dust. The eagle soulgrass was a spiritual plant that Yun Yang had planted long ago. Other than being just for show, Emmy had also secretly taken care of it. Not to mention those that had been cultivated, even those that the ordinary citizens had obtained from the eagle race's exchange and had consumed had all turned into dust. The benefits had turned into harm. Witnessing the situation and the reports from various parties, the three sovereigns were so furious that their livers were in pain. The demon emperor's decree had been announced to the world. Capture the demon fox at all costs. Demon sovereigns of all races, gather at the demon palace. 4 sovereigns of eagle, crane, eagle, and eagle, get over here. The demon sovereign's thunderous rage reverberated throughout the world. Other than the crane sovereign, the other races did not have a scapegoat. The sovereigns felt as if they had eaten sh*t as they accepted the punishment with dark expressions. The crane sovereign even slaughtered the heavenly crown king's entire clan at the first moment, exterminating the entire clan. The dragon race moved. The tiger race moved. The phoenix race, the eagle race, the crane race, the wolf race. The entire demon realm had moved. It could be said that for hundreds of millions of years, there had not been such a huge movement in the demon realm. Even when it was against the 9 Lives Cat King, it was only the demon sovereign's family that took action, not the entire demon realm. The only one that did not move now was the fox race. Because up until now, the fox race was still in the dark and did not know anything. No demon would alert the enemy at this time. If it really had something to do with the fox sovereign, once the news came out, he would immediately slip away. Who could catch him then? Therefore, the fox sovereign was still fighting at the Blood Soul Mountain Pass. When he was tired from fighting, he would go to his opponent's cave to rest, drink some wine, sleep for a while, and then brag. His days were extremely comfortable. Naturally, he didn't know that a huge black pot had been firmly pinned on his head. He wondered if the higher-ups of the demon race would have more thoughts if they knew that he often went to the cave where the strongest human cultivators lived, often drank, chatted, bragged, and even took a rest. The demon palace's law enforcement team was already on the way. They were advancing at full speed towards the fox sovereign's location. A historical scene that would be recorded in the history of both the human and demon races was about to happen. Remember the mobile version of the website. Chapter 411. Chaos. The world was in chaos. Page 1/1. Bookmark for easier reading. Chapter 1302. Yun Yang, who was on the run, was shocked to find that the entire demon race was in chaos. Even the demons in the sea were hurriedly shuttling back and forth, saying that they would help catch the spy. According to the news from the demon race, to find the spy, he has used the names Violet, White Robe Shao, Hu Jiao, 13th Brother Jade Fox. He often dresses up as a fox. This demon has the ability to transform. After transforming, even a saint cannot detect him. This order was spread all over the world. What was more, the Dragon and Phoenix clans had sent out all the experts with the ability to discern. An order was sent directly to the Nameless River. Golden Sacred Fish Clan, listen up. Come out of the water and cooperate to capture the demon fox. In the sea. Sea Dragon Clan, listen up. Sea Spirit Clan, listen up. Come out of the water and cooperate to capture the demon fox. Anyone who captures the demon fox, regardless of race, will be rewarded with 80 million Saint Yuan coins, a marquee title, a general position, a mansion in the imperial city, and can participate in the princess's son-in-law selection. When this reward was announced, all the demons were stirred again. The demon fox had the ability to transform. This meant that any demon they met could be the incarnation of the demon fox. The difficulty was undoubtedly extremely high. It was not an exaggeration to say that it was like looking for a needle in a haystack. However, this difficulty would not affect the enthusiasm of the demons. This was the only chance for the demon race to ascend to the heavens in one step in hundreds of thousands of years. For this opportunity, all the demons could not help but go crazy. All the demons imagined themselves to be the lucky demon who could capture the target and ascend to the heavens in one step. Therefore, even the demons closest to them, their best friends and brothers, began to doubt. After the doubt, it was a test to put into action. How much wine did we drink last night? What wine did we drink last night? We played together the night before yesterday. Who was with us? Do not underestimate such a simple question. In just 2 days, the number of demons who died from such simple questions was no less than thousands. If the answer was wrong, they would immediately fight. If the donkey's lips did not match the horse's mouth, they would immediately fight to the death. Even if it was a little vague, take it down. Among them, the foxes in various places were the unluckiest. After all, although the target was said to have the ability to change into tens of thousands of forms, most of the people he changed into were foxes, regardless of whether it was Violet, the 13th prince of the Jade Fox, or the crown prince of the Fox clan. Furthermore, the master of Sky Crown City had once said that he had the Fox Emperor's token on him. Because of this, countless members of the Fox clan were captured. Since the Fox clan was able to be ranked among the 12 sovereigns of the Demon clan, they naturally had many strong individuals. Strong individuals had their own pride, but as long as one was unwilling to surrender, they were directly killed. So what if it was confirmed that they were not the target? If they dared to resist, it had already vaguely proved that they were the accomplices of the target demon fox. There was no way to kill them. In the span of a few days, tens of thousands of foxes scattered throughout the demon realm were slaughtered. As for the higher-ups of the demon clan, in order to be more effective in dealing with Yun Yang, they mobilized the experts with the power of the soul and divided them into 8 directions. There was more than one case of the golden fish. At the same time, the demon clan's most reclusive and most mysterious fortune-tellers also gathered in the demon palace. According to the information gathered from all sides, they worked together to make a divination. However, whether it was the psionic demons or the fortune-tellers, no matter how they investigated and divined, they did not find anything that could be used. As a demon fox, there should be some fox fur left at the place you've been, shouldn't there? There should be some scent left at the place you've been, shouldn't there? These clues that should have existed were all gone. Condor Emperor, Crane Emperor, Rock Emperor, and Falcon Emperor came to the demon palace one after another. Falcon Emperor, Rock Emperor, Eagle Emperor, and Condor Emperor all looked gloomy. They were filled with an aura that had erupted but was forcefully suppressed. Condor Emperor, Rock Emperor, and Falcon Emperor were the pinnacle of the demon clan's 12 sovereigns. The humiliation they had suffered this time was simply the shame of a lifetime, something that could not be washed away even with all the water of the lunar river. Among these sovereigns, the Crane sovereign was the one who felt more comfortable. Sigh. This is so embarrassing. The Crane sovereign's face was gloomy. To think that I entrusted such an important place to Tian Guan. I trusted him so much, but he actually made such a big mistake for me. Annihilating his entire clan and killing his 9 generations is already letting him off lightly. He deserves to be killed in both his soul and be doomed eternally. Condor Emperor, Rock Emperor, and Condor Emperor did not say a word, but they turned to look at the Crane sovereign at the same time. What do you mean by that? Our situation is similar to Crown King's. All right? He should be destroyed in both soul, but what about us? Should we do the same? The Crane sovereign sighed with his hands clasped behind his back as if he did not see the 3 sovereigns' cold gazes. He shook his head and said, "The Crane clan has really embarrassed themselves this time. Say. However, I have never seen this demon fox before. If I had, I would definitely not let him have his way. That bastard heavenly crown is too short-sighted. That's why he fell into this demon's trap." Condor Emperor, Rock Emperor, and Eagle Emperor's breathing grew heavy. The Crane sovereign did not see it, but the 3 of them did. The Crane sovereign had the heavenly crown king as his scapegoat, so he could stay out of it. However, the 3 of them had promised the demonic fox and boldly sent her into the land of captivity. After that, they even politely sent her off. The Crane sovereign's words were clearly to provoke the 3 sovereigns. It was blatant and undisguised. It was too insulting. The Crane sovereign refused to shut up. He shook his head and said, "Luckily, I'm too weak to be ranked among the 12 sovereigns. Otherwise, I would really be too ashamed to face the demon. Shame. Bam. The crane sovereign was thrown to the ground by the eagle sovereign's wing, and he could no longer move. The eagle sovereign said calmly, "I've been burning with anger recently, and I want to use the crane's crown to calm myself down. Condor Emperor, Rock Emperor, do you two need anything?" Rock Emperor laughed sinisterly and said, "The crane sovereign said that we've lost all our face. I only have one thought now, and that is to put the crane's wing on myself and become the crane sovereign of the crane race. Then, I won't have to bear this shame, right?" The eagle sovereign's eyes were cold. "To tell you the truth, I'm old and weak, and I'm losing my ability to take care of my concubines. I need some nourishment to improve. It's rare to see such a good thing, and I can use it. Other than what the three of us need, the rest will not be wasted. There's a famous chef in my race, and he's good at cooking cured meat. I'll hang the remains of the corpses to dry and make them into delicacies, and I'll share them with the two of you." The eagle sovereign and Rock Emperor nodded repeatedly. "Good, good, good. That's exactly what I want." The crane sovereign was pressed down by the eagle sovereign's wing in the demon emperor palace's main hall, and he couldn't move anymore. When he heard the three demon sovereigns talking about him, he couldn't help but cry out in anger and shame, "Eagle sovereign! The three of you have lost all your face, and yet you want to vent your anger on me. I'm not someone to be trifled with." The eagle emperor directly slapped a certain emperor's crane crown red, and said indifferently, "This emperor is willing. Who asked you to be weak? Who asked you to be weak?" These 4 words were a direct hit to the crane sovereign, and there was no room for him to refute. "Although I'm weak, I've never lost such a big demon. I didn't invite a wolf into my house, and I didn't open the door to a thief." The crane sovereign's sorrowful and indignant roar resounded in the demon emperor palace. The 3 sovereigns were even more furious, and without any explanation, they all attacked, and the entire demon emperor palace shook. When the demon sovereign came in, the crane sovereign was already on the verge of death. Although the items on his body were still intact, his original form was revealed. A huge white crane was lying on the ground with its wings drooping, and it could only exhale, but not inhale. It was so pathetic that it was unbearable to look at it. The corner of the demon sovereign's mouth twitched, and he said indifferently, "The 3 of you agreed to let the demon fox into the prison that you're guarding, and yet you're still so excited? 3 high-grade Saint Monarchs ganging up on a second-grade Saint Monarch. Are you planning to use this to celebrate and vent your excitement?" Critical hit. If the crane sovereign suffered a critical hit of 10,000 points, then the 3 sovereigns were suffering a critical hit of at least 1,000,000 points. No matter how cheap the crane sovereign's mouth was, he was still in existence on the same level as the 3 sovereigns. But that demon fox was just a piece of cake for the 3 sovereigns. A demon that could be easily killed, but was instead toyed with in the palm of the 3 sovereigns' hands. The 3 sovereigns were panting heavily, and their eyes were wide open. They were already filthy enough, and their wounds were opened up again and again, over and over again. Facing the demon sovereign, even if they couldn't win, they would let the demon sovereign know why flowers were red. They were too weak. These words were returned to the 3 sovereigns by the demon sovereign in one piece. The demon sovereign slapped the crane sovereign's back, and a surge of energy surged into him, healing his wounds and restoring his human form. He then took a leisurely step and sat on the throne. He said faintly, "What you've provided so far is meaningless. It's of no help in finding the demon fox." How is it possible that the demon fox didn't find anything? The 4 sovereigns were shocked. For the sake of safety, they had moved the entire room where Yun Yang used to stay here. They had even uprooted the entire plot of land where Yun Yang used to set up his stall. As long as there was a trace of scent or a strand of hair left in these places, the royal family's top fortune-tellers would definitely be able to track the demon fox's whereabouts with their soul. However, there was no effect at all. There's no scent left. There's no hint of cultivation method left. There's no hair left either. There's no blood, soul, or energy left. The demon sovereign's muscular body sat on the throne, and his voice was heavy. The other party should have been prepared for this. The situation now is that there has never been a demon fox like this in the entire realm of demonic beasts. The 4 sovereigns were stunned. How could this be? How could this be? Even the 4 of them would leave some traces when they weren't paying attention. This demon fox could actually leave no trace from the beginning to the end. How could this be? What kind of caution and scheming was this? The demon sovereign said in a low voice, Are the three of you sure that this demon fox only has the cultivation base of a second-level supreme saint? Other than the crane sovereign, the other three sovereigns nodded in unison and said firmly, "There's no falsehood in this." The demon sovereign did not speak, his brows knitted together as he pondered. With the cultivation base and knowledge of the three sovereigns, if they said that Yunyang only had the cultivation base of a second-level supreme saint, then Yunyang would definitely only have this level of cultivation base. There was no possibility of any falsehood or misjudgment. This was the natural law of the bound of universe, and no one could go against it. The Rock Emperor took a deep breath and said, "This incident has caused us to forget our roots and be blinded by greed. However, when it comes to cultivation base, it's impossible for the few of us to not be able to see the true level. Moreover, this is the consensus of the three of us. There's no mistake about this." The demon sovereign revealed a faint smile and said slowly, "Your judgment is indeed sharp." The three sovereigns' expressions changed at the same time. Although it was only 3 words, who could not understand the meaning behind it? The eagle sovereign's face darkened and he said, "Your Majesty, there's no need to mock us." The demon sovereign was silent for a moment, and he said indifferently, "Mock us? Do you think that my words are unpleasant? No, I don't want to mock at all now. I don't want to mock any demon. I just want to kill." His gaze was cold, and although his voice was as calm as ever, his heavy aura was like countless mountains that were about to collapse. Compared to land demon beasts, there aren't many powerful flying demon races. There are even fewer that can travel long distances and return safely. It's not like you don't know how many of our ancestors died in order to capture humans back then. How much price did we pay? We sacrificed a total of 127 peak demon battle strength, including 15 great sage powerhouses. Only after countless years of accumulation did we manage to capture those humans into our hands. The demon sovereign's voice was like a volcano brewing. For the soul-devouring tree, more than 1,000 holy venerables worked at the same time. Only then did we meet the requirements of the array formation. As for the underground prison, the construction of a total of 12 underground prisons took all the resources of the entire demon race for 300,000 years to complete. This doesn't even include the 99 million demon lives that were sacrificed. In order to complete this array, the entire demon race and the entire 10,000 demon planes were impoverished and lived a difficult life. That being the case, we should still try our best to maintain the daily supplies of the underground prison without slacking off in case of any mistakes. How many demons can you provide for, and how many demons died because of the lack of resources? You guys clearly know. You guys are the ones who know the most. And our only hope is to use the accumulation of the 12 arrays over the years to create a path for the demon race, to kill our way into the bound of universe, and to get rid of this barren land of the 10,000 demon planes. The demon sovereign's voice was solemn. This is the common hope of all the demons. All these years, we have never taken such good care of these human captives. Not even our own sons. We serve them like grandfathers every day, afraid that they will be unhappy, commit suicide, give up, refuse to cultivate or fall sick. Chapter 1303. After the previous battle in the Tian Fa Holy Land, it had already proven the effectiveness of this method, and the results were immediate. All of us were overjoyed, and felt that we were about to succeed, and that the day we advanced into the Xianhuang Empire was just around the corner. But you 4 emperors destroyed 4 of them in one go. And the 4 that had the most people. The Demon King's voice was as if he wanted to devour someone. You know that the remaining 8 places combined are not even as many as the 4 of your 4 clans. You know that very well. Now, this empress has only spoken the words in my heart, yet all of you can't hold it in any longer and have flown into a rage from embarrassment? Do you feel embarrassed? If you knew that it would be hard to be embarrassed, you would have forgotten your roots. But you guys personally let the thief in. You personally agreed to the time, and you even had to respectfully send the other party out of the palace. The Demon King's laughter shook the entire Demon King's palace. Do you know the situation now? Do you know that because you forgot your roots, the demon race has wasted hundreds of thousands of years of effort? Now, you can't even take a word of mockery. Isn't this a joke? A huge joke. Then the Demon King roared again. Who gave you the right to be so arrogant? Who gave you the right to be so arrogant? Who gave you the right to be so proud? This emperor can tolerate your presumptuous behavior here, but think about it, as the emperor of the demon clan, what have you done? The Eagle Emperor, the Emperor Rock, and the Emperor Condor breathed heavily. The veins on their faces were popping out and they were sweating profusely. They clenched their fists tightly but couldn't say a word. It wasn't that they didn't feel guilty. They knew that the Demon King was right. It wasn't easy for the human captives in the underground prison to come here. Who knew how much manpower and resources had been invested in the construction of the underground prison? Just the construction alone had taken more than 3,000 years. There was also the repairs and the constant replenishment from the humans over the years. It was a huge consumption. The Eagle Emperor touched his hooked nose and said awkwardly, "Luckily, it hasn't been completely destroyed. The soul-devouring tree's life force has been greatly damaged. As long as we find a way to heal it, it will be able to function again." Cough, cough, cough. As he said this, he felt his face turning red. Emperor Rock and Eagle Emperor nodded. "We will do our best to restore the soul-devouring tree and the array as soon as possible." The Demon Emperor replied coldly, "How early is early?" The Eagle Emperor coughed. 500 to 600 years? Emperor Rock coughed as well. "I'm afraid 500 to 600 years isn't enough. But 600 to 700 years should be enough." The Eagle Emperor then coughed. "At the very least, he will recover in 800 years. The Crane Emperor coughed. "My situation is similar to theirs." The Demon Emperor felt like he was about to spit out a mouthful of blood. However, he knew that these 4 emperors had lost face today. Because this matter was of great importance, they did not do anything about it. However, if he continued to pursue the matter, he was afraid that these 4 fellows would really lose face. The case of the 9 lives demonic cat was not far away. If another high-level demon emperor appeared, the power of the demon tribe would be shaken again. Not to mention that there was an unknown fox emperor. Among the 5 emperors involved in the case, he was the most suspicious. Maybe he was another cat king. The demon emperor furrowed his brows and said coldly, 700 to 800 years. It might have been fine in the past, but what about now? In the Battle of the Tionfa Holy Land, because of the power of the Celestial Luck Banner, we were brought forward by 28 years. 700 to 800 years. We would have killed our way out of that passage long ago. The 4 emperors' faces were livid, but they were speechless. They knew that this was the truth, and they would only embarrass themselves even if they tried to argue. Fortunately, the Demon Emperor did not go too far. He waved his hand and said, "Now that things have come to this, it's useless to scold you." After a pause, he still could not suppress his anger and said, "If it's really only 800 years, I'll admit it. But who can guarantee that the array and the soul-devouring tree will recover after 800 years? Who dares?" The 4 emperors were speechless again, because the Demon Emperor snorted. "Even now, you still can't let go of that little bit of face of yours. What's the point of bragging now? 1,000 years is 1,000 years. The soul-devouring tree is already an adult tree, and now its vitality is greatly depleted. The recovery time of 1,000 years is definitely not shorter." The Eagle Emperor and the others were embarrassed for a while. They were all peak experts, so how could they not know the limit of 1,000 years? The previous 5 to 600 years, 7 to 800 years, was just an excuse to stall for time. Otherwise, what else could they say? The Spirit Demon Emperor knocked on the table lightly and said indifferently, "What's worrying me now is that there are no clues about the Spirit Fox at all. This is not right. If the Spirit Fox is really from the Spirit Demon clan, and if he is really from the Spirit Demon clan, how could he not know the importance of the soul-devouring tree to the entire Spirit Demon clan? How could he destroy the great cause of the demon race? So, I suspect that the Demon Fox might be a human in disguise." As soon as he said this, the Eagle Emperor, Rock Emperor, and Eagle Emperor's expressions changed, and they said at the same time, "Absolutely impossible. In this world, nothing is impossible except the unimaginable." An elegant voice came from outside, and said indifferently, "I think that the possibility of the Demon Fox being a human is more than 90%. As the voice spoke, a man in a green robe floated in from outside. The man was 8 feet tall, handsome, and wore a green robe. Just from his appearance, he looked more like a sage of the human race. 3 strands of long beard floated in front of his chest, and he looked indescribably elegant and calm. He did not look like a demon at all. It was as if there was nothing in this world that could catch his attention and concern. He walked in leisurely, and the Eagle Emperor and the others immediately stood up to welcome him, their faces full of respect. "Greetings, Your Majesty." "Greetings, Your Majesty." The man who came was as famous as the Demon Emperor and the Dragon Race, the Phoenix Emperor. He was also the Demon Emperor that the Eagle Emperor and the other Demon Emperors admired and respected the most. Although the Demon Emperor was the strongest and the top of the Demon Race, that was only in terms of strength. Moreover, the Demon Emperor race had its own inheritance, so the other Demon Emperors were only half afraid of him, and less than half respected him. As for the other Demon Emperors, their attitudes towards the Phoenix race, especially the Phoenix Emperor himself, were completely different. The Demon Race had a saying, "I, the Dragon Emperor, am invincible in every battle." This saying showed the Dragon Emperor's status as the strongest in the Demon Race. In contrast, there was another saying, "I, the Phoenix Emperor, am the only one who can decide the fate of the world." When it came to the number one killing weapon of the Demon Race, the Phoenix Emperor's wisdom was above that of the Dragon Emperor. The Eagle Emperor and the others were very clear that if they offended the Dragon Emperor, they would just be beaten up by him, and it did not matter even if they were killed. The race could elect another Demon Emperor, and everything would still be the same. But if they offended the Phoenix Emperor, it was completely different. He could keep scheming until your entire race was completely destroyed. Back then, the Peacock race, who loved beauty, boasted that their feathers were incomparably beautiful and were even more beautiful than the Phoenix race. As a result, the two races had a conflict. One of the Phoenix Emperor's royal daughters had a conflict with the Peacock Demon race at the Peacock Group's base, and returned with heavy injuries for some reason. The Phoenix Emperor was furious and questioned the Peacock Emperor, but the Peacock Emperor only agreed on the surface but opposed on the inside, delaying the matter again and again. The Phoenix Emperor was furious and used all kinds of methods. Therefore, not long after, the Peacock race suddenly realized that they had become the enemy of the entire world, and they had offended all of them, the kind that could not be resolved. What's more, while the Peacock race was the enemy of the entire world, the Phoenix race perfectly stayed out of it, as if it had nothing to do with them. Under the Phoenix Sovereign's ruthless attacks, the Flying race, which had been one of the 12 sovereigns of the Demon race for a long time, had been reduced to a mere 2 or 3 of them. They had almost followed in the footsteps of the 9 Lives Cat race. Such methods caused the Demon Emperors of the various races to tremble with fear. He would rather offend the Dragon King and die than offend the Phoenix Empress. At this moment, the publicly acknowledged top sage of the Demon race had finally arrived. If Yun Yang had been here, he would have cried out in surprise no matter how composed he was. This was because the Phoenix Sovereign's face was identical to his old rival in Tianxian continent, the god of wine, Feng Xiang'a, or Mr. Nian. As the Phoenix Monarch entered, the Wolf Monarch, Bear Monarch, Tiger Monarch, Panther Monarch, and the other monarchs of the various races also entered in a single file. No less than a dozen sovereigns entered one after another. All the sovereigns of the various clans of the Demon race had gathered together. For a time, the hall was filled with greetings. The Eagle Sovereign, the Crane Sovereign, the Rock Sovereign, and the Eagle Sovereign were the first to bear the brunt. The Demon Sovereigns of the various races stepped forward to greet them. "Yo, Your Majesty the Eagle Emperor. I heard that you personally let the Demon Fox into the prison grounds to destroy the arrangements? I'm impressed." "Ah, Your Majesty Emperor Rock is here as well. I thought that Emperor Rock had gone to pursue the culprit. I never expected him to be so relaxed. I'm ashamed of my inferiority to his mental state." "Yo, Your Majesty Eagle Emperor." The fourth sovereign's veins were throbbing with rage, but he could only remain silent. This was because the Phoenix Monarch's eyes had been looking in their direction, intentionally or otherwise. They really did not have the confidence to beat up the other sovereigns under the gaze of this pair of eyes. It was already wrong to do so. If they were to force it, the problem would be even more serious. "Phoenix Monarch, take the seat of honor." The Demon Monarch beckoned. The friendship between the Demon Monarch and the Phoenix Monarch was different from that of the other sovereigns. They were sworn brothers and had always been close brothers for so many years. They had never had a conflict. It was also thanks to the Phoenix clan's support that the Dragon clan could sit firmly on the seat of honor of the Demon race. The Phoenix Monarch sat down calmly and said with a faint smile, "We've suffered a great loss this time, but there's no need to be too anxious. No matter how anxious we are, we can't turn the situation around. Speaking of which, although today's incident has delayed the Demon race's entry into the bound of universe for another 1,000 years, it's not necessarily a bad thing to analyze it in detail." The Demon Monarch said in surprise, "What do you mean by that, brother? Please elaborate." The Phoenix Emperor smiled faintly. Back then, in order to set up this grand sky-stealing formation, our demon race expended a lot of resources. Many experts even expended countless years of their lifespans in the process of setting up this formation. If we open up the passageway now, it might not be a good thing. We've been painstakingly setting up this sky and essence-stealing formation for hundreds of thousands of years. Now, the effect is remarkable, but the demon race has also paid a great price for it. Their strength has been greatly reduced, while the human race has not lost many experts in this long period of time. Even though they have slackened their fighting spirit because of the long period of peace, but their foundation is vast, and their overall strength is much higher than ours. Even if the human race's population is not as large as the demon race's, and their individual combat strength is not as strong as our race's, but when it comes to top combat strength, they definitely have more than us. And the real key to victory between the two sides is the number of top combat strength. The best result would be a Pyrrhic victory for us, but our top combat strength would be wiped out, and we would have to be wary of the human experts who are scattered among the people at all times. Now that there's such an incident, there's an additional 1,000 years of buffer time for both sides. The human race will only slack off because of the more comfortable time, but the demon race can make use of this period of time to nurture more talents. So, although this incident is not a good thing, the outcome might not be too bad. Everyone, there's no need to be too devoted to it. It's hard to let it go. The Phoenix Emperor's tone was extremely soothing, but it was accompanied by a calming power. After all the monarchs heard this, they could not help but feel much more at ease. They were a lot happier. Especially the Eagle Emperor and the others. They felt as if a huge stone had been lifted from their hearts, and even their breathing was smooth. Now, let's talk about the topic I mentioned just now. It's the key figure in this incident. That demon fox is a human. I can confirm that. The Phoenix Emperor said slowly. Actually, it's only so to confirm the other party's identity. There are 3 things that really make me question. Firstly, how did this human come here, and how did he pass through the Blood Soul Mountain? Secondly, the various methods of this human are too mysterious. They directly target the demon's heart, causing the demon involved to be unable to resist. As for the third thing, this person's way of doing things is watertight. He can predict the enemy's moves in advance, planning before taking action. He can be said to be an extremely dangerous person. And according to the information I have, no humans can enter or leave the areas guarded by the various races. The only uncertainty is the fox race. I don't want to suspect any of my comrades, but now, the Phoenix Emperor said. Forget it. Let's wait for Nine-Tailed White to arrive first. When that time comes, everything will be clear. The Dragon Emperor snorted and said, Nine-Tailed White's role in this incident is almost certain. What else is there to say? The Phoenix Emperor frowned and said seriously, Your Majesty, you must not jump to conclusions. Nine-Tailed White will never betray the demon race. I can guarantee for him on this point. I've already said that everything will be clear when he arrives. I'll say this solemnly here. Do not anger him and harm the demon race. The Dragon Emperor's expression was a little strange. He coughed and said, I don't think he will dare to come. Now everything points to him. The Phoenix Emperor's expression turned serious. He suddenly asked, Your Majesty, have you already sent someone to capture Nine-Tailed White? The Dragon Emperor coughed awkwardly and avoided her gaze. Since he is a suspect, shouldn't we capture him? The Phoenix Emperor's expression turned ugly. How long has he been gone? It has been 4 days. The Dragon Emperor coughed again. The Phoenix Emperor sighed deeply and said seriously, Your Majesty, what you did with the cat ancestor back then was already too much. It caused the demon race to completely lose the 9 Lives Cat clan. Now, are you going to repeat the same mistake? His voice was heavy. The 9-Tailed Fox clan is not like the 9 Lives Cat clan. Once it changes, it will cause an unprecedented event for the demon race. It might even affect the survival of the entire demon race. He then closed his eyes and sensed for a while. Suddenly, his expression changed. May I ask, who did you send to carry out the mission, Your Majesty? The Dragon Emperor stared. It was Elder Green Dragon who volunteered to go. Elder Green Dragon? The Phoenix Emperor's face turned pale. He said angrily, How could Your Majesty be so foolish to send him? He and the Fox Emperor have always been enemies. They were rivals in love back then. U.M. Chapter 1304. The Dragon Emperor pursed his lips and said, How many years has it been? I have long. I have already been gone for 4 days, I guess by now. As he spoke, his face was filled with regret. He had really been negligent about this matter. The Phoenix Emperor stomped his feet as beads of sweat appeared on his forehead. He said, "This is bad. I have to make a trip there personally. I just hope that things are not out of hand." He stood up and said, "There is no time to lose. I will make a trip there immediately. We will talk about everything else after I return." Before he finished speaking, his body moved and a ball of flame appeared where he was standing. Then, a 7-colored light flashed in the sky and the Phoenix Emperor disappeared without a trace. Only his words were left in the sky. "Eagle Emperor and the rest, listen up. If His Majesty wants to punish you, you can fight it out with him. I will back you up." The Eagle Emperor and the rest smiled bitterly. "We don't dare." But the Phoenix Emperor was already far away. Even though his voice was just a few feet away, his figure was already tens of thousands of miles away. The movement speed of the Phoenix race had always been the fastest among the Demon race. Even the Eagle, Rock, and Crane races that were also known for their speed had to admit their inferiority. Especially the Phoenix Emperor, who had fused his innate fire attribute special ability with his movement technique to deduce an extremely fast movement technique. He was truly the #1 demon in the Demon race. As for his last sentence, it showed that he was still worried about the Dragon Emperor, who had always been used to using strength to convince others. He was worried that this hot-tempered Dragon Emperor would say something to agitate the Eagle Emperor and the rest, so he left a message to appease him. But he did not know that before he came, he had already agitated the Dragon Emperor several times. But with this sentence, even if the Dragon Emperor really did something, the Eagle Emperor and the rest would not really be angry and fall out with him. This was the power of the Phoenix Emperor, the absolute king of the flying races. Once the Phoenix token was out, all the birds would bow their heads. The Dragon Emperor's expression was very complicated. He could not help but touch his head and sighed as if he was a little regretful. "Why can't I change my hot-tempered temper? I can only hope that the Phoenix Emperor can make it in time." The demon sovereigns of the various races were also speechless. The Phoenix Sovereign looked very anxious. He had just used his unique technique, Nirvana Fire Escape. This was a supreme movement technique that the Phoenix Emperor deduced with the Phoenix clan's unique secret technique, the Rebirth Flame, as its foundation, and once one's cultivation attained the Phoenix Emperor's level, one could instantly tear through space for an extremely long distance when executing the Rebirth Flame movement, and its speed was peerless. Although the 9-tailed fox was quite a distance away from Demon Imperial City, as long as she used the Nirvana Fire Escape twice consecutively, she would be able to reach there easily. All the demons had the same thought and heaved a huge sigh of relief. This was the difference between the Dragon Emperor and the Phoenix Emperor. The moment the Dragon Monarch appeared, all the sovereigns were filled with rage, and they wanted nothing more than to fight to the death to vent their anger. However, once the Phoenix Monarch appeared, no matter how chaotic the situation was, it would instantly be stabilized. However, when they thought of the words, "Elder Azure Dragon and the Fox Emperor are sworn enemies, and they are also rivals in love," all of the emperors wore strange expressions. In the entire Demon Peacock Emperor's realm, apart from the Dragon Clan, all the other demon clans could only marry within their own clan. However, the Dragon Clan was different. The union between 2 members of the Dragon Clan would naturally give birth to a pure-blooded Dragon Clan. However, the union between other clans would give birth to dragon horses, dragon fish, dragon foxes, dragon eagles. Those belonged to drakes. The Eagle Monarch coughed and said, "Dragons are lustful by nature. Fortunately, His Majesty the Demon Emperor only has a harem of less than 15,000, and he can still restrain himself. Otherwise, it would be a little troublesome." All the demon emperors burst into laughter. They wanted to laugh, but they did not dare to do so. The demon emperors were speechless. Just 2 hours ago, 10 great sage experts from the Dragon Imperial Palace had already arrived at the Blood Soul Mountain. Among them were 5 great sages of the Dragon Clan and 5 great sages of the Phoenix Clan. They all belonged to the Demon Emperor's first law enforcement team, and each of them had the status of a law enforcement elder. Even if they were members of the royal family, they had the authority to act first and report later. They were indeed of high status and power. And this time, they had sent 10 of them at once. It was obvious that they valued the Fox Emperor greatly. The Blood Soul Mountain was still as majestic as ever. The 10 Great Sage law enforcement team immediately went to the Fox Emperor's palace. "Where is the nine-tailed fox?" However, the nine-tailed Fox Emperor had already gone to the peak of the Blood Soul Mountain to fight as usual. He was not in the palace. He was not there once, and he was not there again. The 10 Great Sages remembered the Demon Emperor's orders. The Green Dragon Elder ordered, "Take him down first, then we will judge." The Great Sages did not hesitate to attack when they thought of the Demon Emperor's orders. But the moment they attacked, the Green Dragon Elder pressed down with one hand and shouted, "Do not cause any casualties." He then shouted, "Dragon and Phoenix Cage." In the sky, a golden dragon and a colorful phoenix suddenly appeared. Then, a beam of light suddenly shrouded them. Endless power suddenly descended from the sky, directly sealing the entire Fox Emperor's palace inside, imprisoning all the experts of the Fox Emperor's palace. Even the children of the Fox Emperor's concubines were captured. Vaguely, they could hear a shrill, angry howl. But then it was sealed. However, although the law enforcement sage monarch had a high position and was even more powerful, this place was the headquarters of the Fox clan after all, and there were peak experts overseeing it. With a few explosions, 7 or 8 sage monarchs of the Fox clan struggled to break free from their shackles and shouted, "Dragon and Phoenix law enforcement team. What crime did the Fox race commit that you need to mobilize the Dragon and Phoenix law enforcement team?" Other than the 7 or 8 second-grade Great Sages of the Fox race who had already broken free, there were still 10 weaker first-grade Great Sages who were attacking the Dragon and Phoenix cage crazily. "Let us out! The Fox race has been fighting for the demon race against the human race for many years. We have fought tirelessly. What did we do wrong?" Countless Fox race experts shouted at the same time, "What did we do wrong?" A Green Dragon Elder's dragon roar shook the world. The Fox Emperor colluded with the human race and plotted against us. He wanted to destroy the millions of years of foundation of the demon race. We are here on the Emperor's orders to capture and interrogate him. The Demon Emperor has ordered that anyone who disobeys can be killed on the spot. A second-grade Great Sages of the Fox race howled in grief and indignation. He flew into the air and said, "Nonsense! Why would our Emperor betray the demon race and collude with the human race? He is obviously trying to pin a crime on us. Does the Demon Emperor want to repeat what happened to the 9 Lives Cat clan? You still dare to quibble? Take him down." The Green Dragon Elder hollered and was the first to attack. His first move was a ruthless one. The 8 Great Sages of the Fox race howled at the same time. "Don't panic, Your Highness. We will ask for the return of our Emperor immediately." One of the Great Sages of the Fox race, whose 9 tails were divided into 9 different colors, roared, "Hold them off. I will go to the Crimson Soul Mountain to ask for the return of our Emperor immediately." Actually, the leader of the Great Sages of the Fox race had crushed his token to inform the Fox Emperor at the first instance. However, for some reason, there was no response from the Fox Emperor. Of course, they did not know that the Fox Emperor had already passed his token to Yun Yang. Naturally, they could not receive any news at this time. However, there was no reply from the Fox Emperor. This caused the experts of the Fox race to panic. Could it be that something had happened to our Emperor? Could it be that the Demon Emperor was really going to kill the Fox race? Yes, if they couldn't take down our Emperor, how would they dare to attack the Fox race like this? There was no room for negotiation at all. The Fox race had always been a suspicious race. Faced with such a situation, they could not help but let their thoughts run wild. Almost immediately, they thought of the old incident with the 9 Lives Cat clan. Could it be that the Fox race was going to follow in their footsteps? No, they could not sit and wait for death. Rebellion. The Demon Emperor's token. Kill without mercy. It was as if the Fox race had heard a bolt from the blue. Every expert's face was filled with grief and despair. The 8 Great Sages soared into the sky at the same time, roaring in grief and indignation. "Everyone in the Fox race, listen up. All the Fox race, protect the palace. Fight to the death. Even if we die. Save the Empress. Save the Prince. The legacy of the Fox race, the glory of the generations, all rests on this. We will not regret it even if we die 9 times. From all directions, earth-shattering roars rang out at the same time. The 8 great armies of the Fox clan responded at the same time, quickly gathering towards the Imperial Palace, their imposing aura surging forward. In the Dragon and Phoenix cage. At all costs. Charge out. The Fox Empress, who was trapped in the Dragon and Phoenix cage, roared. Explode it. Over a dozen holy venerables gathered together with grief and indignation. They held hands and roared in grief and indignation. We will open a path for Her Highness. Everyone, I'm counting on you. The 15 holy venerates charged out together without any hesitation. All the essence blood in their bodies suddenly gathered at this moment and exploded. They self-destructed on the walls of the Dragon and Phoenix cage. A total of 15 holy venerables had decided to self-detonate. The power of the explosion was earth-shattering. Even the Dragon and Phoenix cage had a large hole blasted open in it. Kill! A hoarse roar rang out. The fox race experts in the palace also took this opportunity to rush out. At this moment, there was no time to say anything else. All of them attacked the 10 Dragon and Phoenix enforcers with all their might, with red eyes and tears flowing down their faces. There was only one thought in the tsunami-like voice. Revenge! The Azure Dragon Elder was enraged. He roared, the fox race has rebelled. The fox race has indeed rebelled. Brothers, follow me to kill the enemy. Unbeknownst to him, the other Saint Monarchs only had one thought. This matter seemed to be a little too hasty? Before they could even say a few words, the Green Dragon Elder had sealed off the Fox Imperial Palace and imprisoned the Fox clan's royal family. Then, for some reason, when a few great monarchs came out and asked a few questions, their expressions changed drastically. Then, they were filled with grief and indignation, and started fighting. Now, the other party's army had moved out. 15 holy venerables self-destructed and forcefully broke the Dragon and Phoenix cage. Everything happened in the blink of an eye. It was as if only a very short amount of time had passed. The entire situation was already out of control. It was extremely bad. The Azure Dragon Elder roared. A giant Azure Dragon image suddenly appeared in the sky. It roared at the sky. Fox race, you disregarded the Emperor's orders and disobeyed your superiors. Are you really going to rebel? One of the Fox race Saint Monarchs saw the Azure Dragon in the sky. He immediately transformed into his 9-tailed form and pounced over fiercely. Our fox race has always wanted to rebel against the demon race. Now it is you who want to do it. What are you doing now? You came here to denounce us for no reason. After you came, you didn't say a word. You didn't explain things clearly. You directly imprisoned the royal family of the fox race. You even killed countless elites of the fox race. Your ambition is obvious. Azure Dragon, you are the one who is causing trouble now. The Azure Dragon Elder's face was cold. I am following the orders of the Demon King. The Fox Emperor betrayed the demon race. His crime cannot be forgiven. This is irrefutable evidence. Bull ****. The Fox race Saint Monarch scolded. Your actions are the ones who betray the demon race. Our fox race has even settled our own race beside the Blood Soul Mountain. We have been fighting day and night. We have never slacked off for millions of years. If we wanted to rebel, we would have done it long ago. Why wait until now? The Fox Emperor has moved the entire fox race to the Blood Soul Mountain. This is the irrefutable evidence of his treachery. Once the time is ripe, he will escape the demon race and return to the human race. It is laughable that you are still in the dark. Or perhaps, all of you know what is going on. The Azure Dragon Elder roared in anger. As he spoke, the two Saint Monarchs had already approached each other quickly. Without saying anything, they started to fight. The power of the two Saint Monarchs was not to be underestimated. The surrounding space kept collapsing. Although the cultivation of these two was high, they were obviously not as good as the Fox Emperor and He Buyu. They were far from being able to control their power as they wished. As they clashed with each other, they created countless aftershocks that affected a wide area and caused great destruction. And these two continued to scold each other as they fought. Azure Dragon, you must give us an explanation. You must pay the price. Otherwise, even if our fox race fights to the front of the Demon King, we will not let this matter rest. Just you wait. What a joke. What kind of explanation do a bunch of traitors want? Price. I will give you an explanation right now. Use your life to get it. At this moment, it was not just the Azure Dragon Elder. The other Saint Monarchs were also fighting each other. This place was the headquarters of the fox race. Even if they could not produce 10 second-grade Saint Monarchs, their advantage in numbers was enough to make up for this weakness. The other 9 Saint Monarchs from the Imperial Law Enforcement Team did not even have time to speak before they were surrounded by the fox race experts. Even with the combined strength of 9 second-grade Saint Monarchs, and the secret techniques of the Dragon and Phoenix race, they still did not have the slightest advantage. Furthermore, the fox race's reinforcements continued to arrive. From afar, there were Saint Monarchs who broke through the space and joined the battle. There were also over 100 Saint Venerables. Although they couldn't participate in the battle between Saint Monarchs, they could gather their strength in the periphery. A single Saint Venerable was powerless against a Saint Monarch, but there were over 100 Saint Venerables gathered in one place. Even a second-grade Saint Monarch wouldn't be able to withstand the combined attacks of 100 Saint Venerables. Furthermore, if a Saint Venerable were to get close and launch a self-detonating attack, the Saint Monarchs from the Imperial Law Enforcement Team were still fearful of the self-destruction of the Saint Venerables. They knew that they were not as sturdy as the Dragon and Phoenix Seal. Even the Dragon and Phoenix Seal could be broken, let alone themselves. Further outside, there were countless fox race troops that were quickly mobilized over. Below, a luxurious and graceful figure soared into the sky. His eyes were filled with tears, and he was carrying a corpse in a bright yellow robe. He shouted, "No matter what the reason is, we must kill these bastards and take revenge for my son." The one who had been killed was a corpse dressed in a bright yellow robe. It was the Crown Prince of the Fox Clan. A casual attack from the Azure Dragon Elder had actually killed the Crown Prince of the Fox race. No one knew if it was a coincidence or a misfortune. Azure Dragon. You. The few Saint Monarchs from the Imperial Law Enforcement Team who had come along were astonished and shouted. At this moment, the few experts that had come with the Azure Dragon Elder had also sensed that the situation was not normal. Azure Dragon's actions were too proactive. Or perhaps it should be said, too excessive. Chapter 1305. The 7 great sages muttered in their hearts. This Azure Dragon seemed to be behaving rather strangely today. The moment he arrived, he attacked without even finishing his sentence. Furthermore, his attack was so coincidental. In such an instant, he killed the Crown Prince of the Fox Clan. They were in the Fox Clan's palace now. Even if the Fox Emperor was a suspect, he had not been convicted yet. What kind of explanation did he have for killing his son? Even if he was the leader of the law enforcement team and had a high status, he did not have such authority. Everything that had happened was simply too strange. Could there really be such a coincidence? Ever since the Demon Fox incident, the lazy Azure Dragon had volunteered to take up the task. He had rushed all the way here and used the excuse to kill. Everything was unusual. It was as if he was afraid that the Fox Clan would not rebel. A strange light flashed in Elder Azure Dragon's eyes. He roared into the sky. "Fox Empress, are you trying to drag the entire Fox Clan into a place of eternal damnation? This is the order of the Demon Emperor. You dare to disobey?" The Fox Empress' beautiful face was filled with grief and indignation. So what if it's the order of the Demon Emperor? Even if my Fox Clan really rebelled, the evidence is irrefutable and irrefutable. There must be a public trial of the various clans. How can we allow you to kill as you wish? Azure Dragon, you immediately killed us the moment you arrived. What is your intention? Elder Azure Dragon shouted. The Fox Clan has rebelled and ruined the plans of the Demon Clan for hundreds of thousands of years. The evidence is irrefutable and the entire clan should be executed. The Fox Empress laughed coldly and said, "You have irrefutable evidence? Then what else is there to say? Kill them all and leave none alive. Take revenge for my son." Before she finished her sentence, she personally took action and flew over. Tears of blood flowed from her eyes. Her graceful and beautiful face was pale and crazy. However, as she rushed over, the 9 heavens suddenly became densely covered with lightning. Then, the lightning flashed and struck down in a frenzy. The Fox Empress was also a great sage. Although she was only at the beginner stage of the Great Sage, she had the Fox Clan's secret technique, and her strength was above that of an ordinary second-grade Great Sage. Previously, when she was trapped by the Dragon and Phoenix Seal, it was because the person who came was indeed a member of the Imperial Law Enforcement Team and was definitely not a fake one. Thus, she naturally did not have her guard up. After that, everything happened too quickly, and she was even more unprepared. Furthermore, It was also because Elder Azure Dragon and the others were very powerful, and the Dragon and Phoenix Seal was a secret technique that the Dragon and Phoenix clans had meticulously created. Its power was unparalleled, and that was why the Fox Empress was restrained in one move. Now that her son had perished and the seal was no longer there, both parties had seen through the pretense of cordiality. How could the Fox Empress let the murderer who killed her son off? Naturally, she also ruthlessly retaliated. With the Fox Emperor not around, the Fox Empress was the highest decision-maker of the Fox clan. Furthermore, with the Crown Prince's death and Elder Azure Dragon's declaration that the entire Fox clan should be exterminated, their hearts were united against a common enemy. Naturally, they gathered together to attack. In an instant, the battle became more and more intense. The group of Fox clan was in a state of frenzy, and all of them rushed forward with bloodshot eyes. Every expert of the Fox clan was fighting with their lives on the line. That shout of not hesitating to die had already shocked all the demons of the Imperial Law Enforcement team. However, the Fox clan's attack had yet to stop. Below the battle in the sky, the Fox clan's royal army's formation had already quickly taken shape. On the ground, the neat formation had already formed a huge arrowhead. Endless demonic aura was rapidly brewing and gathering in the sky. The various army commanders immediately gave the order to attack. Combine forces. With a response from below, the immensity sea shook. Attack! As the word attack was given, the army launched an attack as a group. Countless powers gathered in the sky and formed a huge spear that was thousands of feet long. It was overflowing with a dazzling brilliance as it whizzed over. Its speed was extremely fast. Almost as soon as it was formed, it had already reached below Elder Azure Dragon's huge dragon body. Elder Azure Dragon saw that the spear was coming at him aggressively and did not dare to be careless. His dragon claw borrowed the force from the side to counterattack. However, the huge spear's power was extraordinary. Elder Azure Dragon's full-force counterattack actually did not budge. With a loud boom, the spear hit him head-on. Elder Azure Dragon immediately spat out a mouthful of blood and sustained serious injuries. This was the combined attack of the entire army of more than 100,000 soldiers. Even though Elder Azure Dragon's cultivation was deep and had already reached the peak of second-grade Saint Monarch, he still could not withstand the combined attack of more than 100,000 experts and was injured on the spot. And this attack was just the beginning. With the success of this attack, the orders to launch an attack came one after another, and it was endless. Combine forces. Attack. Blood-colored spears quickly took shape and shot into the sky one after another like bloody rainbows. The entire Fox race, including the Fox Empress, had a total of 15 saints in the sky. They had attracted the majority of the Imperial Law Enforcement team's attention. With the help of many Saint Venerables watching from the outside, they were ready to take action. Even though the Imperial Law Enforcement team was stronger, they were still firmly pinned down in the sky. Meanwhile, the Fox clan's joint attack had produced an exceptionally stunning performance, causing Elder Qinglong and the other great monarchs to be injured very quickly. Furthermore, they were continuously being injured. The situation was gradually becoming disadvantageous for the royal clan's law enforcement team, and it was becoming more and more disadvantageous. Elder Azure Dragon howled into the sky. The Fox race's rebellion is already a foregone conclusion. We have to kill our way out and inform the demon sovereign of this matter. Before he finished his sentence, his entire body was covered in a brilliant golden light. His body, which was already several thousand feet long, actually grew by another 3 times. Those who block me shall die. With a loud boom, the 2 fox saints in front of him were sent flying. They bared their fangs and brandished their claws. Shaking their heads and wagging their tails, they let out a dragon roar. Charge out! Elder Azure Dragon was the leader of the Imperial Law Enforcement team. His cultivation was also the highest among all the demons. When he suddenly used the dragon race's secret technique, its power increased greatly. For a moment, none of the demons were able to withstand it. He actually managed to forcefully create an opening. Seeing that the Imperial Law Enforcement team, led by Elder Azure Dragon, was about to take the opportunity to escape, a cold voice suddenly rang out. Charge out? Where are you going? A huge white jade-like hand suddenly appeared in mid-air. It grew larger and larger until it was like a huge mountain pressing down on them. Facing the huge hand, Elder Azure Dragon, who was the first to bear the brunt of the attack, let out a miserable howl. He spat out a rain of blood as his huge body fell from the sky. The golden light in the sky intensified again. It was the Fox Sovereign's figure in mid-air. He shouted sternly, "All of you stop!" It was also at this moment that the space cracked again. The great sage who had previously gone to report also appeared behind the Fox Sovereign. His eyes were spitting fire as he stared at the Fox Sovereign. The power of the Fox Sovereign's palm shocked everyone present. With a shout, the battle that had already reached its climax immediately stopped. Looking at the Fox Palace that had already been reduced to ruins, the Fox Sovereign's eyes flashed with fire. He then turned his head and looked at the great sages who were still fighting. The Fox Sovereign's voice was filled with coldness. "What happened?" These 4 words were like a bone-chilling wind that blew down from the snowy mountains in the far north. With a flash, the Fox Empress appeared in front of the Fox Sovereign. Her tears fell like rain. She hugged the corpse of a 7-tailed white fox and trembled all over. Save you, quick!" Suddenly, her cherry lips opened, and she spat out a mouthful of blood. Although the Fox Empress's cultivation was not weak, she was much weaker than the demons from the royal law enforcement team. She had already been agitated because of the death of her child. She had also forcefully held on and led the charge to attack the Azure Dragon Elder and the other demons. She had already been severely injured. Now that she saw the Fox Sovereign return, she could no longer hold on. When the Fox Sovereign saw this, he instantly trembled all over. Looking at his son's stiff body, he suddenly saw stars. His body actually swayed a few times in mid-air. He was one of the few almighties in the world. How could he not see that his own son had already been destroyed in both body and spirit? There was nothing he could do. Who did this? Azure Dragon. The Fox Sovereign suddenly turned his head and roared, "Azure Dragon!" This roar split the sky, and several snowy mountains that were thousands of miles away immediately collapsed. Behind the Fox Sovereign, tens of thousands of feet of golden flames burned the sky. His figure suddenly flashed, and he appeared in front of Azure Dragon. His eyes burned with killing intent, and he grabbed Azure Dragon's huge body. The next moment, he grabbed Azure Dragon Elder's body and returned to mid-air. He lowered his head, looked into Azure Dragon Elder's eyes, and said word by word, "Why?" At this moment, the Fox Sovereign's aura was extremely violent. The stars in his eyes were also exploding one by one, filled with killing intent. Azure Dragon Elder's cultivation was profound, and he could already be ranked among the strongest in the world. However, in the hands of the Fox Sovereign, he could not even struggle. He tried his best to widen his eyes and mouth and said fiercely, "Traitor, all demons shall be killed together." The Fox Sovereign laughed bitterly, but his voice was frighteningly calm. He said, "I only want to ask you, did the Demon Sovereign give the order?" Azure Dragon Elder said fiercely, "His Majesty has given the order. If the Fox Sovereign does not agree, he can be killed on the spot." One of the enforcers beside him was shocked and shouted, "It's not like that, it's not like that. Your Majesty, there's a misunderstanding in this matter. His Majesty, the Demon Sovereign is still waiting for you." The other demons of the royal enforcers had to speak up, but they did not dare to. If they were in their peak condition, the 10 of them could definitely fight with the Fox Sovereign, and they could even win. However, they were facing the attacks of the entire Fox clan, and their battle strength had been reduced by more than 30%. Among them, Azure Dragon Elder, who had the highest cultivation, had fallen into the hands of the Fox Sovereign. Once the Fox Sovereign decided to kill them, none of them would be able to escape, and they would all die here. The Fox Sovereign took a deep breath and said calmly, "Misunderstanding." Suddenly, he reached out and grabbed Azure Dragon Elder's body. He grabbed onto a dragon tendon, and immediately tied a knot in his hand. He murmured, "Misunderstanding." He exerted force in his hand, and forcefully pulled the dragon tendon out of Azure Dragon Elder's body. Azure Dragon Elder's shrill cry resounded through the sky. No matter how powerful a cultivator was, having their strength sealed, and having their tendon pulled out while they were still alive was an unbearable pain. At this moment, there was a flash of fire in the sky, and a wave of heat suddenly surged over. A green-robed figure suddenly appeared in mid-air with a whoosh. It was the Phoenix Sovereign. The moment the Phoenix Sovereign appeared, he saw the miserable state of the Fox clan. He saw the collapsed palace, the enraged Fox Sovereign, the sorrowful Fox Empress, and all the Fox clan cultivators who were already extremely furious, as well as the Fox clan army that had gathered below. He instantly felt a sense of helplessness in his heart. No matter how fast he rushed, he was still a step too late. But fortunately, from the looks of it, there were not many casualties. Most of them were just injured. As for the collapse of the palace, it was even more of a small matter. As long as the Fox Sovereign and Fox Empress were fine, then they would basically be fine. If there was still a chance to salvage the situation, then he would do his best to salvage the situation. He definitely could not allow the demon clan to lose another arm. Brother Fox, please calm down. The Phoenix Sovereign stood opposite the Fox Sovereign, several hundred feet away. He did not move and placed his hands behind his back, indicating that he had no intention of attacking. He said amiably, "Brother Fox, please listen to me." The Fox Sovereign's gaze was cold, and his face was filled with murderous intent. His killing intent did not lessen at all because of the Phoenix Sovereign's arrival. He did not even bat his eyelids. Without even looking at the Phoenix Sovereign, he said indifferently, "Seems like it was indeed the Demon Sovereign who gave the order to kill. Now, even the Phoenix Sovereign is here to capture the traitor?" As he spoke, he did not relax his grip at all. The Azure Dragon's tendon was still being pulled out from his body, inch by inch. Azure Dragon Elder's shrill cries grew louder and louder. It was earth-shattering and hair-raising. There are no traitors in the Demon Clan. Brother Fox is even less of a traitor. The Phoenix Sovereign said amiably, "Brother Fox, we have been brothers for hundreds of thousands of years. Can you let me have a chance to speak?" The Fox Sovereign chuckled and threw the Crown Prince's corpse over. He said indifferently, "Brother Phoenix, we have been brothers for hundreds of thousands of years. Can you let your nephew have a chance to live?" "Nephew." The Phoenix Sovereign looked at the white fox's corpse that was thrown over. Especially that eye-catching bright yellow robe. He felt as if his head was about to explode. This was the Crown Prince of the Fox Clan? The Phoenix Sovereign knew very well that although the Fox Sovereign had many children, the only one that he doted on was the prince born by the Fox Sovereign and the Fox Empress. He only had one child. He was the legitimate Crown Prince of the Demon Clan. He only had one Princess Jade. The Fox Sovereign treated it like a treasure, and the Fox Empress treated it more than her life. And this Crown Prince of the Fox Clan did not let down his parents' love and expectations. He was extremely intelligent, courageous, and far-sighted. The Fox Clan saw him as the rising star of the entire clan. After the Fox Sovereign, the Fox Clan could still dominate the demon realm for hundreds of thousands of years. This was because of this genius Crown Prince of the Fox Clan. But now, there were almost no Fox Clan members who had died in this battle. But why did this Crown Prince have to die? Was this a coincidence, or was it too much of a coincidence? In that instant, the Phoenix Sovereign's head doubled in size. Green veins popped out on his forehead. He suddenly turned to look at Elder Azure Dragon. The killing intent in his eyes was no longer concealed. It was not inferior to the Fox King's. This was done by Azure Dragon? The Phoenix Sovereign had already gone mad from anger. Although it was a question, his tone was very certain. Other than Azure Dragon, there would not be a second person. The Fox Sovereign continued to slowly pull out the dragon tendon. He smiled bitterly and said, "Brother Phoenix, if it were any other matter, I would definitely give you face. But today, your face is useless." He laughed loudly, his voice shaking the heavens. With a long howl, he said fiercely, "I don't care what the reason is. Today, don't say that your face is useless. Even if the Demon Emperor and the Demon Empress are here personally, their face is also useless." He finally raised his head and looked straight at the Phoenix Sovereign. "Do you understand?" The Phoenix Sovereign looked up to the sky and sighed. He was speechless for a long time. Remember the mobile website? Chapter 415. Death Your Face is Useless. Page 1/1. Bookmark for easier reading. Chapter 1306. The Fox Emperor's eyes were filled with madness and brutality. There was also an icy coldness that made it seem as if he did not care about anyone. The Phoenix Emperor instantly came to a realization. He understood that although the Fox Emperor was still talking to him, this was just an instinctive behavior that he had developed over a long period of time as an emperor. In reality, the current Fox Emperor had completely lost his rationality. He needed to vent, and the way to vent was revenge. The first target of revenge was naturally the person directly involved in this matter, Elder Azure Dragon. Azure Dragon's long dragon tendon was extracted bit by bit, inch by inch. The Fox Emperor did not increase the strength of the dragon tendon extraction. The Fox Emperor's meaning was very clear. Azure Dragon had to pay the price. The heaviest price. Killing him with a single palm strike and destroying his soul was too light a punishment. Living a life worse than death was the Fox Emperor's revenge on Azure Dragon, and this was only the beginning. However, this was not the main point that the Phoenix Emperor was concerned about. Azure Dragon's death was destined. This was inevitable. However, would the Fox Emperor's target of revenge be limited to Azure Dragon? If it was not limited to just this, that would be the situation that the Phoenix Emperor would not be happy to see. The Phoenix Emperor flashed and appeared beside the Fox Empress. He lightly patted her with his palm, and an extremely pure demonic aura instantly healed the Fox Empress meridians that were about to collapse. Sister-in-law, how much of Yu's soul did you manage to protect? This was the most important thing at the moment, or perhaps the only bargaining chip that could salvage some of the situation. Yu was struck by the soul-exterminating palm. A mouthful of blood seeped out from the corner of the Fox Empress' mouth. She closed her beautiful eyes, and tears streamed down her face. This happened too suddenly. Azure Dragon's attack was too fast and too ruthless. It happened right before my eyes. Even though I used all my strength, I only managed to preserve a remnant of my soul. Elder Azure Dragon and the others asked from the sky above the palace. Considering the other party's identity and their position, the Fox Empress and the Crown Prince naturally had to come out to take a look since the Fox Emperor was not around. This was the Fox Palace, the place where the highest authority of the Fox clan was located. It was said to be the safest place in the entire Fox clan. The Fox Empress and the Crown Prince were also quite powerful. There were very few things in the world that could threaten such a combination. However, Azure Dragon and his group carried the Demon Emperor's Imperial token and entered the Fox clan's Imperial Palace safely and smoothly. The Fox Empress and the Crown Prince even showed up on their own accord to meet them. There weren't even a few high-level guards around them. Since they were the special envoys sent by the Demon Emperor, why would they harm them? However, the moment he came out, a soul-exterminating palm struck him. Then, a dragon and phoenix cage enveloped him. At that instant, the Fox Empress didn't even have time to react before she found herself in a perilous situation. Instead, it was the Fox Crown Prince who reacted quickly and sacrificed himself to protect his mother. Otherwise, the Fox Empress would have been the first to die. Then, everything would have been set in stone. Compared to the annihilation of her beloved son, the Fox Empress would rather be the one to die. She, who had suffered such a heavy blow, had shed all pretenses of cordiality and fought against the royal family's law enforcement team. "Give me the child." The Phoenix Emperor took a deep breath and said loudly, "Brother Fox, let's not talk about anything else first. I'll think of a way to save the child's life first. This is the bond between us brothers. As for you taking your revenge in the future, I won't say a word." The Fox Emperor suddenly turned his head to look at the Phoenix Emperor. His originally cold eyes flashed with a hint of surprise and doubt. The current Fox Emperor was just as the Phoenix Emperor had thought. His mind was already at an extreme. There was nothing in this world that could be shaken by words. However, the Phoenix Emperor had targeted the only exception. If the Fox Crown Prince still had a chance to return to life, then there would be a chance to turn things around. In reality, this was the main reason why the Fox Emperor was at the edge of extreme insanity. He had no way to save his son's life. If even he couldn't do it, then it could be said that it was almost irreversible in this world. However, the Phoenix Emperor's shocking words had shaken the Fox Emperor's remaining bit of rationality. That's right, the Fox Emperor only had that sliver of rationality left. The Phoenix Emperor didn't hesitate. He took a deep breath and suddenly opened his arms. Circles after circles of black flames appeared from his body. The balls of black flames covered a radius of 1,000 miles in an instant. Then they slowly retracted. This is the soul-searching heavenly fire. The Fox Emperor's eyes flashed again. He quickly regained his rationality. The Fox Empress clenched her fists tightly. She looked at the Phoenix Emperor, who was using all his strength to cast a spell, with great anticipation. Will it work? The Fox Empress raised her head and looked at her husband helplessly. This is the soul-searching heavenly fire. Even if the target soul has completely dissipated, as long as we seal the area where the target soul dissipated, we will be able to retrieve it to the greatest extent. However, My son's situation isn't just a simple dissipation of his soul. We might still need the Phoenix Emperor's nirvana flames. Even if it works, the Phoenix Emperor might have to pay the price of dropping a cultivation level. Dropping a cultivation level. The Fox Empress' eyes were filled with shock. She understood what the Fox Emperor meant. The Fox Emperor's expression slowly calmed down. However, the look in his eyes became more and more unpredictable. He understood what the Phoenix Emperor meant by doing this. Even if the Phoenix Emperor said that he could do whatever he wanted after reviving his son and would not stop him. However, if he could do whatever he wanted, why would the Phoenix Emperor do this? The reason behind this matter was actually very simple. How could the Fox Emperor not know about the grudge between him and the Azure Dragon Elder in the past? There was a 90% chance that the Azure Dragon Elder was using his power to avenge a personal grudge. He wanted to make use of this opportunity to wipe out the Fox clan in one fell swoop. The Azure Dragon Elder had attacked right from the start because he knew that it was impossible for him to take revenge on the Fox clan alone. However, he hoped to make use of this opportunity to turn the situation into an irreversible situation. He wanted to force the Fox clan to become enemies with the entire Fox clan. The great lords of the royal law enforcement team would definitely be defeated when facing the entire Fox clan. However, as long as one or two of them returned, the Fox clan would definitely rebel. As the leader of the royal law enforcement team, he had the greatest chance of escaping alive. As long as his plan succeeded, the Fox Emperor, who had lost his beloved son and was in a state of extreme rage, would encounter the hot-tempered demon sovereign. With these two factors added together, it would be hard to avoid the annihilation of the entire Fox clan. If everything went smoothly, he might even be able to reap the benefits of the third party. Both the Fox Emperor and the Phoenix Emperor could see this plan clearly. However, even if they could see it clearly, the Fox Emperor could no longer stop now with such hatred present. The Phoenix Emperor did not mention any reason or consequences when he came here. He did not even mention the reason for the law enforcement team's arrival. The first thing he wanted to do was to save the Fox clan's crown prince. He did not hesitate to lend a helping hand and showed the greatest amount of goodwill. This was where the Phoenix Emperor was brilliant. If there was even the slightest bit of delay, the demon clan's great calamity would be unavoidable. At this point, the other 7 great lords of the law enforcement team all secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Cultivators who could cultivate to the great lord level were not fools. Elder Azure Dragon's actions were very abnormal. After the Dragon Phoenix cage was cast, he immediately pressed down with his palm. This was something that everyone had seen. However, they did not expect that it would result in such a serious outcome. However, during the battle later on, Elder Azure Dragon's every move was a killer move and he pushed himself to his limits. These great lords were not fools. How could they not see it? Before they left, the demon sovereign had never said anything like killing without mercy. Therefore, everyone had held back. They did not truly fight with their lives on the line. After all, their opponents were fellow demon clan members. Otherwise, the Fox clan's casualties today would have been astronomical. It would not have been so few. After knowing that the Fox clan's crown prince had died in the initial attack, how could they not understand? It was clearly Elder Azure Dragon's personal actions that caused the situation to go completely out of control. However, the 7 great lords were filled with confusion. They had never heard of any deep hatred between Elder Azure Dragon and the Fox Emperor. Why was it that Elder Azure Dragon's actions were to push the Fox clan into a dead end? He did not care about the bigger picture at all. Now that the plan that had lasted for hundreds of thousands of years had been destroyed, he actually wanted to use this opportunity to frame the Fox Emperor? This was too reckless, wasn't it? And from the looks of it, he did not even care about his own life. It was obvious that as long as this plan was successful, even if Elder Azure Dragon had to sacrifice his own life, he would not hesitate. What kind of hatred was this? Previously, they had never heard of it. Furthermore, according to Elder Azure Dragon's arrangements, even if he himself had a chance of survival, the other 7 great lords would not be able to survive. Even if the Fox Emperor did not arrive, just the Fox clan's experts led by the Fox Empress would be enough to heavily injure them. After all, the Fox clan's killing intent had already been formed. It would be difficult for them to turn back. The luckiest outcome would be that 1 or 2 great lords could escape with severe injuries. Under everyone's expectant gaze, the soul-searching heavenly fire approached from afar. The Fox Emperor, the Fox Empress, and the Phoenix Emperor's expressions became more and more solemn. They became more and more nervous and cautious. After a long time, a gray substance was surrounded by the soul-searching heavenly fire and returned to the Phoenix Emperor's hand. The Phoenix Emperor melted the Crown Prince's remnant soul into the gray fog and observed it carefully. Then, he exhaled lightly and said, "The soul-exterminating hand is indeed domineering." His divine spirit power was completely dispersed. "Luckily, I came early." The Fox Emperor took a deep breath and asked, "Brother Phoenix, how is it?" The Phoenix Emperor said, "It's a little troublesome, but I hope it's still possible." "How confident are you?" the Fox Emperor asked. This time, the Phoenix Emperor did not reply immediately. Instead, after a period of deep consideration, he replied cautiously, "I have 40% confidence." 40%? The Fox Empress' eyes lit up. The success rate that the Phoenix Emperor had mentioned greatly exceeded the Fox Empress' expectations. It was close to a success rate of 50%. As a mother, how could she not be overjoyed? Originally, she did not even have a shred of hope. However, the Fox Emperor noticed the Phoenix Emperor's hesitation and cautiousness. He said, "Brother Phoenix, are there any difficulties?" "There's nothing difficult. It's just that the Demon Emperor and I need to work together at the same time. I will circulate the Nirvana flames, and the Demon Emperor will execute the Dragon Soul secret technique. Then, we will use our Spring of Life to reconstruct Ur's physical body. Then we will use the Supreme Grade Demon Soul Jade Marrow as the blood, and the essence of the Land Fairy bloodline as the bones." The Fox Emperor's expression darkened at once, and the Fox Empress looked dejected as well. Her previous joy was gone. The Nirvana flames and the Dragon Soul secret technique only required the Dragon Emperor and the Phoenix Emperor to unleash their full power, which would damage their cultivation base. The Spring of Life was not rare either, but the Supreme Grade Demon Soul Jade Marrow and the essence of the Land Fairy bloodline were extremely rare items. Even the Fox Emperor's personal storage did not have such treasures. If we could get our hands on the Bound of Universe's ethereal amethyst, we could increase the success rate to 80%. The Fox Emperor was surprised. Ethereal amethyst? How could this item have such a miraculous effect that greatly increases the success rate? Even if it's an extraordinary item that's exceptionally rare and priceless, it's not like it's impossible to get your hands on it. I have a dozen pieces in my personal storage. The Phoenix Emperor sighed. A dozen pieces isn't enough. To save we'll need at least 200 pieces of ethereal amethyst. Every piece of bone must correspond to at least one ethereal amethyst. You have a dozen pieces here, but I don't even have a single piece of ethereal amethyst. I don't think the Dragon Emperor has many either. No matter what, Brother Phoenix, you must help me. I'll try my best to get as many ethereal amethysts as I can, the Fox Emperor said solemnly. Of course. The Phoenix Emperor chuckled bitterly. I'd rather give up my cultivation base than let Brother Fox's legacy end. I must save Ur's life. The Fox Emperor breathed a sigh of relief, and then said darkly, "But today's matter," the Phoenix Emperor smiled. "Brother Fox, you can deal with it yourself. I'm just a bystander today. However, there's another matter that requires Brother Fox's attention. The Azure Dragon may have committed a grave sin, but the other brothers don't understand the whole story. Especially since they probably didn't kill in the previous battle. Otherwise, the Fox clan's losses wouldn't be limited to this." The Fox Emperor said coldly, "I understand that. I'll only seek revenge from the Azure Dragon, but for the 7 of them, I'll still argue with His Majesty the Demon King." The Phoenix Emperor breathed a sigh of relief and smiled. "That's good." Hearing the Fox Emperor mention His Majesty the Demon King, the Phoenix Emperor was relieved. The few demon lords of the enforcement team breathed a sigh of relief as well, and hurriedly stood aside. At this moment, the culprit, Elder Azure Dragon, who was the instigator of this battle, was already in a terrible state. His massive body had shrunk to only a few dozen feet in size, like a small green snake, coiled weakly in the Fox Emperor's hand. He was on the brink of death, but he would still hiss hoarsely from time to time. It was obvious that the excruciating pain was still coursing through his body. On the Fox Emperor's shoulder, there was an additional bright dragon tendon, dripping with glowing golden blood. During this period of time, the Fox Emperor had finally extracted Elder Azure Dragon's dragon tendon. The faces of the 7 enforcers were pale, especially the 3 enforcers of the Dragon Clan. They felt the same fear as the Azure Dragon clan. However, the Phoenix Emperor acted as if he didn't see it, and he was still talking cheerfully. Now that something like this had happened, even if the Fox Emperor would let this elder Azure Dragon off, the Phoenix Emperor would definitely not let him off. At this moment of life and death, he actually wanted to incite a war between the two clans because of his own selfishness, and almost forced the Fox Emperor, one of the 12 sovereigns, to rebel. Just this one crime alone would cause Elder Azure Dragon to be sentenced to death by the Phoenix Emperor. His crime was unpardonable, and there was no possibility of forgiveness. At this point, there are two paths to take. Think about it. Chapter 1307. Poof. The Fox Emperor threw the dying Elder Azure Dragon onto the ground. Elder Azure Dragon struggled to move his body like a little green snake. He raised his head and glared at the Fox Emperor. Azure Dragon, it's been more than 100,000 years. Your evil intentions have not changed at all. You finally succeeded today. The Fox Emperor looked coldly at Elder Azure Dragon on the ground and said, "You're already at death's door. On account of our old friendship, I'll make an exception and let you say a few last words. I can't just let you die like this. Whatever you want to say, just say it. But don't take any chances. Even if the Demon Emperor himself comes here today, you won't be able to escape death." Elder Azure Dragon broke free from his shackles and used his vital energy to recover. His vital energy gradually returned to his body. The next moment, the light and shadow changed and turned into a weary old man in green. He still glared at the Fox Emperor and said through gritted teeth, "Say a few words?" "Say what?" "Nine-tailed white. You treacherous little demon." The Fox Emperor said indifferently, "If you won't say it, I will." The Phoenix Emperor stopped him. "Brother Fox." When the Fox Emperor put down Azure Dragon, he knew that the Fox Emperor was probably going to tell the world about the past. But now he still stopped him. Once the grudges of important figures were made public, it would probably cause a tsunami in the entire demon race. "It's fine." The Fox Emperor's facial muscles twitched. He said indifferently, "Let him die a quick death. I can kill to my heart's content too. Not only do I want to kill him, I want to kill all his direct descendants of the Azure Dragon tribe. I also want to kill all the bastards and lovers he left behind outside." Azure Dragon laughed maniacally. "Nine-tailed white, if you can do it, then go ahead and kill. Since I'm destined to die today, then I don't care what happens after I die. Even if you destroy the entire Demon Emperor's realm, I'll only smile in the underworld and not frown." The Fox Emperor's indifferent voice instantly spread throughout the sky. It could be heard far and near, as if it was right in front of them. "Today, I have spoken of the past not because I want this old loach to live a little longer, nor is there any bull-*** tea appreciation. Instead, it is because, today, my Fox clan has suffered such a great calamity for no reason. This emperor needs to give an explanation to the billions of Fox clan citizens. When I was young, I was of the same generation as this Azure Dragon. Back then, as the prince of the Fox clan, I had to travel the Demon Peacock Emperor's realm to gain experience and train myself. He, the Azure Dragon, was also a direct descendant of the Azure Dragon clan. He also traveled the lands, and we met by chance. At that time, the Azure Dragon liked a female demon. That female demon was a compatriot of our Fox clan's Nine-Tailed clan. Moreover, she was the daughter of an elder of the Nine-Tailed clan. Moreover, she was already married, a married woman. The Azure Dragon completely ignored the other party and pestered her day and night. Even though the other party did not respond to him, the Azure Dragon still refused to give up. In the end, the Azure Dragon actually secretly killed the Banshee's husband and ravaged the Banshee to her heart's content. After that, the Banshee committed suicide out of humiliation. When I found out about this, I went to find the Azure Dragon to settle the score. When he said this, some of the elders of the Fox clan suddenly came to a realization. So the inexplicable disappearance of the Fox Emperor's cousin and her cousin-in-law was actually caused by this Azure Dragon before them. At that time, there was a great battle. I broke both of the Azure Dragon's legs and even chopped off half of his head. Just as I was about to take his life, he was saved by the elites of the Azure Dragon clan. From then on, a deep grudge was formed between us. The Emperor of the Azure Dragon clan personally came out to negotiate, and the Azure Dragon concubine of the Demon Peacock Emperor's palace came out to mediate. At that time, I was weak and helpless, so I temporarily stopped. After that, this emperor and my fiancé traveled the pugilistic world, and you actually took a fancy to my fiancé. When we fought again, you joined forces with more than 30 elites of the Azure Dragon clan to besiege this emperor. My wife and I were truly hunted down by you for 30 years. As the saying goes, the Dragon clan will definitely seek revenge for the smallest grievance. This emperor can be considered to be a demon that knows best. At this point, the Fox Emperor turned to look at the Fox Empress. The Fox Empress quietly reached out her small hand and grabbed the Fox Emperor's right hand tightly. Tears welled up in her eyes. You raped and killed the Phoenix clan's fairy Rainbow Phoenix. You were hunted down by me, and I cut off your young root. You were unable to do evil for 9,000 years. After that, you became a saint venerable and regrown your limbs. You reverted back to your old ways and brought disaster to the demons. The Fox Emperor recounted all the incidents one by one. The elites at the side were dazzled by his words, and they stared blankly at him. Could it be that these two fellows were born to be enemies? They had been at each other's throats since they were young, and it was a love-hate relationship. From what the Fox Emperor had said, the Azure Dragon had been beaten half to death by the Fox Emperor more than 100 times. He had even lost his thing, but he still did not change his lecherous nature. On the other hand, the Fox Emperor had been hunted down by the Azure Dragon clan no less than 20 times, and he had narrowly escaped death countless times. This was definitely a natural enemy. Though your 119 sons, and your 40 and 50 concubines, have all died by my hand on my side. The Fox Emperor spoke clearly, and he recounted the evil deeds of the Azure Dragon. Everyone, including the billions of foxes below, had their mouths wide open. Although it was common knowledge that dragons were lustful by nature, this Azure Dragon was a little too lustful. It could be said that he was so hungry that he could not be choosy, and all the demons could do it. So many things had happened, but not a single one of them had nothing to do with the female demons. And it was all related to the various races, with no exceptions. If he had resorted to such methods to win the hearts of beauties, it wouldn't be a big deal. But look at what Elder Qinglong of the Yao family had done. He was despicable and despicable, using whatever methods he could think of. Rape, drugging, kidnapping, threatening, coercing. He had resorted to every conceivable means possible. Elder Azure Dragon coughed and laughed. Are you done? Is there any falsehood in what I have said? The Fox Emperor's gaze was cold. No. The Azure Dragon raised his head and said, I am a dragon, and that is my nature. So what if I have done it? You, the 9-tailed white fox, killed my entire family back then, and that is the source of my hatred today. Have you forgotten? I'm not afraid to tell you that the woman that I like the most in my life is your wife. What right do you have to win her heart? She even gave birth to a son for you. What right do you have to have what I can't have? Elder Azure Dragon laughed. 9-tailed white fox, with the Phoenix Emperor's intervention this time, you should count yourself lucky that I didn't kill you. He raised his head and laughed. But do you think that the Phoenix Emperor can save your son from Soul Slayer? Dream on. Your son is destined to die. And he will die a horrible death, with his body and soul destroyed. I will make sure that you two coquettish foxes will never be able to let go of this for the rest of your lives. The Fox Emperor panted, his gaze cold and sharp. He said lightly, I just want to ask you one thing. All these years when I became the Fox Emperor, I broke all your bones because of your troublemaking. There has been no movement for too many years. Why did you suddenly make a move this time? Azure Dragon scoffed, his eyes filled with hatred. You want to know? Speak. I want to say, there was a power outage last night. Would you believe me? Facepalm. GT. Chapter 1308. If you don't say it, I won't have the chance to say it. Azure Dragon laughed hoarsely. Because, ever since you became the Fox Emperor, I no longer have the chance, or rather, the chance is getting slimmer and slimmer. You are getting more and more powerful, but the highest I can climb is only to become a demon elder. I no longer have the chance to deal with you. Azure Dragon roared. This is my last chance. If I don't kill you this time, I won't have the chance even if I live for another 100,000 years. 9-tailed white. Are you satisfied with the gift I gave you this time? Ha ha ha. No chance. It's because there's no chance, the Fox Emperor murmured. Suddenly, he let out a long roar, and his figure turned into an afterimage as he flew down. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Elder Azure Dragon's howl shook the heavens and earth. Today, I will settle all the scores that have been accumulated for more than 100,000 years. Let's write them off. The Fox Emperor pulled out 4 of Azure Dragon's dragon tendons. Then, his palm shone with golden light again, and he slammed it down. Azure Dragon. Don't worry, it won't be long before your entire family, young and old, will accompany you to the underworld and be doomed eternally. With a boom, the huge Azure Dragon's body turned into ashes. At this moment, an Azure Dragon shadow suddenly appeared in mid-air and was about to escape. But the Fox Emperor was already waiting in front of him. He grabbed the shadow in his hand and squeezed hard, and it exploded with a bang. In the sky, a colorful mist rose. The spiritual chi in the entire area where the Fox clan was suddenly more than doubled. This was the overflowing spiritual chi from the fallen great sage to the mainland. From the beginning to the end, whether it was the other 7 great sages of the law enforcement team or the Phoenix Emperor, they did not do anything and did not make a sound. As the Fox Emperor waved his hand, countless golden lights suddenly filled the sky. The Fox Emperor Palace, which had already collapsed on the ground, suddenly rose from the ground and reassembled itself in the sky. When it landed again, the glorious Fox Emperor Palace had already been restored to its original appearance. Heal your wounds first, the Fox Emperor instructed. Something big must have happened. Otherwise, this would not have happened. Prepare for battle. Brother Phoenix, please. Everyone, please. The Fox Emperor took a deep breath. Now, tell me what has happened. What has caused the Imperial Law Enforcement Squad and Brother Feng to come here personally? Indeed, up until now, the Fox clan still did not know what had happened today. The Phoenix Emperor sighed. Brother Fox, the trouble you've caused this time is really not small. The Fox Emperor was taken aback. I caused this? Not small? The Phoenix Monarch rolled her eyes. A single token of yours has already turned the entire Demon Peacock realm upside down. Brother Fox, the most powerful token in the history of the Demon Emperor calendar belongs to none other than the Fox Emperor token. This is something that Brother admires greatly. The Fox Emperor raised his hand and said, Hold it right there, Brother Phoenix. You have to explain this matter clearly. I don't understand. Are you jealous or praising me? Praise. The Phoenix Emperor was speechless. Wait until I'm done. If you still think it's a compliment, then I'll have to hand it to you. Humph, I was just about to listen. The Fox Emperor snorted coldly. I, the Fox Emperor, have always been upright and upright. I have never done anything shameful in my life. Even if you slander me, it will not be able to do anything to me. As she spoke, she crossed her legs and looked at the Phoenix Emperor from the corner of her eyes. She was slightly displeased. The Azure Dragon came to frame me, so he is my enemy. But you, the Phoenix Emperor, actually want to frame me? In your dreams. What? What? The Crown Prince of the Fox clan destroyed many underground prisons? Damaged the soul-devouring tree? The spirit-devouring formation will not be able to recover for at least 1,000 years. That is the truth. The Fox Emperor's eyes widened. The Fox Empress also looked at the Phoenix Emperor with a dumbfounded expression. Are you sure you're not joking? I clearly heard and understood every word. But why didn't I understand this so-called truth? Furthermore, the Crane Emperor, the Eagle Emperor, and the Rock Emperor were all tricked? The other party has many rare superior grade treasures, and they are the key spirit herbs that are extinct or already lost. So many great sage emperors have been tricked by a saint? The Fox Emperor and his wife were still dumbfounded. I understand what you're saying, but how can there be such an existence? He actually has the means to get the key spirit herbs that are so rare that they are almost lost, or even extinct, and several races have them. Is this really not a joke? Our Fox clan actually has such a remarkable person? The Eagle Emperor, the Rock Emperor. Are they all from the Pig clan? Most importantly, that Fox Demon has my Fox Emperor's token on her? That's why she pointed the finger at me. The Dragon Emperor's suspicions are not baseless. The Fox Emperor's eyes almost popped out. He looked at the Phoenix Emperor as if he wanted to eat him up. Brother Phoenix, this matter. It's fine if others have doubts, but today you. He looked at his son's body, which was still in the Phoenix Emperor's arms and was being nourished by the Nirvana demonic aura. His lips were trembling. How is this possible? My son has already been beaten to death. How can there be a second crown prince? The Phoenix Emperor smiled. Naturally, I don't believe it. Before I came, including when I met the Dragon Emperor, I stood on your side. It's still the same even now. But, please think carefully, Brother Fox. Your token. Have you given it to anyone before? In this incident, anything can have a reason or an accident that exceeds common sense. Only the Fox Emperor's imprint cannot be faked. The Fox Emperor shook his head firmly. How can I give my token to an unrelated Fox clan? That's impossible. That's impossible. The Phoenix Emperor smiled. I didn't say you gave it to a fox demon. In fact, I suspect that the main character of this incident is a human. Are you sure you didn't give your token to anyone? A human? Of course it's even more impossible. The Fox Emperor hadn't finished his sentence when he suddenly froze as if he had been electrocuted. A figure flashed past his mind like a fleeting shadow. The Fox Emperor's mouth fell open. His expression was blank, and he was stunned on the spot. Seeing him like this, the Phoenix Emperor came to a realization. His expression tensed up, and he asked urgently, "You really gave it to someone?" The Fox Emperor's mouth fell open. He turned his head slowly and looked at the Phoenix Emperor. The expression on his face was extremely interesting. For a moment, his entire mind was a mess. Even his eyes were a little dazzled. I only drank a few jars of wine. And I caused such a huge incident? He thought of the confident words he had said back then. Who in the entire Demon Peacock Emperor's realm would dare to not give face to the Fox Emperor's token? The Fox Emperor couldn't help but want to cry. You. What kind of scammer are you? Chapter 1309. Yun Yang's journey had been an exciting one. He had initially planned to return from the Fox Emperor's side. This was the route he had initially planned. If the demon race had yet to erupt after this series of events and his last place of disappearance had been the Fox clan, then the suspicion of the Fox clan would be increased by at least 10%. If you want to cheat someone, you have to cheat them until they die. Since you've already made use of both sides, why not just make use of them all? However, he did not expect to be discovered by the demon race while he was still wreaking havoc. In this way, as long as he found the Fox Emperor, the truth would definitely be exposed, and his identity would no longer be able to be concealed. If he were to ask the Fox Emperor for help now, he would probably be handing over his own head to the Fox Emperor. The Fox Emperor was definitely going to hate him to the core. It would be a good thing if he didn't eat him alive. But where was he going to go back from on this return journey? Yun Yang had done his homework beforehand. There were about 7 places where the demon race and the human race would battle, and each place was heavily guarded by the human race, preventing the demon race's army from entering. On the other hand, the demon clan's army was also suppressing the area, ready to launch an attack at any time. In other words, he had 7 choices. And the only thing they had to pay attention to was the Saint Monarch-level powerhouses guarding these 7 paths. According to the information Yun Yang had gathered, each of these 7 locations had more than one Saint Lord-level expert. With Yun Yang's cultivation base, it would not be a problem if he could conceal himself to ensure his safety. However, the situation now was vastly different from when he had first arrived. The demonic emperor had sent out many special demons known for their mental strength, such as the golden fish king that had devoured Yun Yang's water form before. It was unrealistic for him to conceal himself completely, but it was even more difficult to charge through. It was no different from committing suicide. Even with Yun Yang's intelligence, he had no clue what to do next. However, his composure after experiencing countless things didn't allow him to panic at all. It doesn't matter even if I can't go back for now. How vast was the monster realm? Even if there was a powerful being like the Golden Fish King, it would need to be close to me in order to threaten me. With my ever-changing ability, as long as I didn't court death, I wouldn't be able to threaten me. He might be able to stir up a storm in the demon race. However, we must be cautious. Faced with the situation where hundreds of billions of demonic beasts were searching for him, Yun Yang only took a breath to decide on his next step. The most dangerous place is also the safest place. Since I can't get away anyway, why don't I take this opportunity to take a stroll around Demon Imperial City? Maybe going to Phoenix City for a walk is also a good choice. I'll give you another 10,000 yuan. I can go to the Demon Soul Sea. Yun Yang had turned into an extremely ordinary-looking wolf demon and strolled leisurely on the road. His current cultivation level was only that of a saint king. It was just that the way it behaved like a curious baby that would go wherever there was excitement made many demons speechless. This wolf demon. Was it not afraid of death, or was it afraid of not dying? In order to catch the spy, blood and flesh were flying everywhere, and you still came over with a face full of amazement. Aren't you just fanning the flames? His cultivation was so low, yet he was so daring. There was no one else like him who could court death like this. They were amazed and amazed. A certain wolf had traversed 17,000 miles leisurely, yet he did not meet anyone who came up to check him. He really did not know if it was a blessing or a misfortune. Many demon couples would fight to the death even if they could not match the secret code. This lone wolf demon did not ask any questions throughout the whole process. It was obvious how terrifying a coincidence could be. However, was this really a coincidence? You went up to ask questions when you saw a demon, trying all sorts of ways to get close to them. Then, you would even come up with all sorts of plans to help after you became familiar with them. It's very difficult to find the spy, said the wolf demon. But it's not completely impossible. As the saying goes, the most dangerous place is also the safest place. Since that fox demon has the ability to change, who knows what he's going to look like? What if he suddenly attacks us all? It'll be terrible. Just look at what he's done previously, killing so many demons. How can we withstand it with our weak bodies? I have an idea. A secret code. Aya, the secret code you designed is not good. All 12 of you know it. It'll be too easy for the enemy to fish in troubled waters. Think about it. Don't you think what I said makes sense? It does make sense. I suggest that between every 2 demons, there must be a special code that only belongs to the 2 demons, and this code must not be known by a third party. You see, there are 12 of us, so each of us needs 11 sets of code. Is this right? As long as it matches, it's definitely our own demon. If it doesn't match, hee. Won't it be clear? Under the wolf demon's plan, the group of Saint King demonic beasts began to communicate with each other using secret codes. In the first few days it was very peaceful, and because of the secret codes, all the demons felt very at ease and at ease. As a result, along the way, they spread this idea everywhere, afraid that others would not know. This was also the wolf demon's idea. Aya, you can't just think about yourselves. Think about it. If we use this method to find the fox demon, we'll have made a great contribution. No matter who finds it, we'll have a share in the final reward. Even if we don't get a share of the credit, we'll still be solving a big problem for the demon race. Don't take it lightly. Think about it. With our meager strength, even if we happen to find the fox demon, can we kill it? We definitely can't, right? Since we can't, we'll have to find another way and use a strategy to gain our credit. Don't you think so? Isn't this logical? When the demons heard this, they felt that this was 2F** king logical. With the strength of that fox demon that killed so many Saint Venerables, the few of them definitely couldn't do it. But with this method, once discovered, the demons would attack together, and it would definitely be a different matter. Thus, along the way, the eyes of all the demons they met lit up. This was a good idea. Identifying enemies, a wonderful way to save one's life. This was a really good idea. Especially those demons that had a large number of demons, who were already having a headache over the purity of their troops. When they heard this method, they were even more overjoyed and elated. Along the way, 1 to 10, 10 to 100, 100 to 1,000,000. More and more demons used this method. As a result, in the end, every time they went to a city, the wolf demon would set up a high platform and spread this method to all the demons in the city, gaining countless praises. Although the wolf demon's strength was shallow, many high-level demons respectfully called it Intelligent Star Wolf. And. Chapter 13:10. All the demons were in awe of this resourceful celestial wolf who came up with strategies. It was just that this fellow did not forget to mention that if the method worked and the target was captured, they should remember to give him a share of the credit. It felt a little undignified, but on second thought, since he had given such a good method to everyone, it was reasonable for him to want some benefits. As the celestial wolf demon continued to preach and teach, everything was orderly for a period of time. It was only half a month. Then, a problem arose. It was normal for 3 to 5 demons to have code words between each other. There would not be any loopholes, but what about dozens of demons? 20 or so? 40 or 50? 1 or 200? In fact, What if there were thousands of demons? Any demon they met would have a special code word that belonged only to them. How much of a test of memory was this? As a result, very soon, some of the demons' brains were in knots. They either remembered it wrongly or answered it wrongly. Many answers were in their heads, and after a long time, they were like glue. Even those who were more meticulous and recorded the code words of all the demons and themselves after they returned could not take it anymore. There were also many who asked preemptively when they met demons they knew, but they asked the wrong question the moment they opened their mouths. This should be another demon's code word. What did the wrong answer mean? F***CK. Spy. Fox demon. Target. It was merit points. The chance to ascend to heaven in a single bound had come. Hence, the fight broke out. It was a battle of life and death. As time went on, such battles increased. They could be seen almost everywhere. It was a common occurrence after a meal. Therefore, the celestial wolf demon preached for tens of thousands of miles, amassing the way of the code word. Behind him, however, was a path of bloodshed. This bloodshed was still spreading outwards. The method was indeed effective. Any demon would think that it was effective, and it was indeed effective. There was only one prerequisite. One had to have a corresponding memory. Therefore, once something went wrong, there was no doubt that it was a spy. When a month had passed, the wolf demon that Yun Yang had transformed into was less than 10,000 miles away from Demon Imperial City. And his greatest achievement along the way was... Along the way, they moved forward and backward, left and right, going back and forth, traveling no less than 50,000 li. Let's start from the place where he started preaching. By the time he reached the 500-kilometer mark, several demons had already died under his method. By the time he reached 3,000 li, the number of dead demons had already reached several hundred. By the time he reached 10,000 li, the number had surged to more than 10,000. By the time he reached his current position, there were already at least 1 million demons behind him. They had died tragically because of his secret signal. He had killed 1 million enemies without even drawing his saber. And this number continued to grow crazily with each passing day. There was a mountain with 8,000 to 9,000 demons, but now there were less than 1,000 left. Half a month after he left, hundreds of thousands of demons had died in the city where millions of demons lived. More than half of the population had been reduced. The tyrannical part of this method was, even when the demons were dead, the secret signal was still alive in the minds of the living demons. It was easy to remember it, but it was difficult to forget it. And when there were so many secret codes, and the targets were either dead or alive, it would be even more difficult to remember who belonged to who. Yun Yang traveled in a carefree manner. Hundreds of thousands of miles behind him were peaceful, but hundreds of thousands of miles away, it was bound to be a sea of blood. As he continued to move forward, the memory of the originally peaceful place gradually became chaotic, and the same thing happened in other places. Once it had reached this stage, the wolf demon would naturally disappear, but the tiger demon, eagle demon, and bear demon could still come one after another. Wherever Yun Yang had stepped foot in the demon realm, it was inevitable that hostility would rise, blood would flow, and bones would pile up like mountains. Countless karmic chi was surging into Yun Yang's space like a tsunami every day. I don't kill them, but they die because of me. Besides, killing with a saber was killing, and killing with a mouth was also killing. The sharpness of Yun Yang's mouth had never lost to the divine edge. This was a publicly acknowledged fact in the Tianxian continent. Not long after, this fact would be acknowledged in the bound of universe, or at least in the realm of demonic beasts. When Yun Yang was about 20,000 miles away from the Demon Imperial City, the situation had developed to the point where teams of experts could be seen running out at any time. The path that Yun Yang had taken to come here was the most critical area, attracting the attention of the higher-ups. There had been no news of any changes happening before this. Why did they suddenly start killing each other? And millions of them at once. What had happened? There had to be something. Was there some demonic realm cultivation method, mystical treasure, spiritual medicine, spiritual plant, or spiritual root that was hidden in the world? There was a saying in the human world that where there were people, there would be martial arts. This saying was correct, but the scope was a little thin. At least, it should be changed to where there were people or demons, there would be martial arts. The demonic race would also trigger martial arts calamities due to some special opportunities. It was also because the demonic race worshipped the strong more. Once there was a unique cultivation method or legacy of the demonic realm strong, it was not rare to cause a large number of demonic race casualties. What was rare was that there were no signs of this upheaval at all. Usually, the demonic realm's higher-ups, the so-called officials, would know about it in advance and take precautions so that they could control the situation later. This time, however, everything had happened so suddenly and inexplicably. Furthermore, the demonic race experts who were in charge of handling these matters did not connect these casualties to the fox demon at all. Although the demon fox's strength was tyrannical and it had taken countless demon lives, it also had a miraculous transformation technique that could cause a large number of casualties. But, up until now, the demons that had died at the demon fox's hands were at least saint rulers, or even saint kings and saint venerables. In fact, the demon fox did not even deign to kill saint ruler level demons. After all, its true strength was clear for all to see. Although the upheaval this time involved a large number of territories and demonic heads, high-level demons and above were rarely involved. The fox demon was only a single demon, so it was difficult to create such a huge scene no matter what. Naturally, no one connected it to the fox demon. By the time these experts rushed over, the millions of demonic heads that had been reported from the front line had already grown to a scale of tens of millions. And they were still killing each other with bloodshot eyes. Give me your life, fox demon. The saint lords in the air felt as if their heads were about to explode. This was no less than 50 to 60,000 miles. Moreover, why were they shouting like this everywhere? What the hell? Were there so many fox demons? The reason for this scene was very simple, and it was even more violent. Too many demons had killed their fellow demonic beasts because of their own misjudgment. However, their pride could not be overcome, and they could not sheath their blades. All of their eyes were bloodshot. Kill the fox demon and avenge my brothers. As a result, more and more demonic beasts died in the hands of their brothers, their companions, until they were killed and revealed their true forms. Only then would they confirm that they had killed the wrong people. Then, a discussion arose. The fox demon is everywhere, everywhere. The fox demon's transformation ability was beyond imagination, and it had the ability to bewitch demons. Then, another wave of discussion arose. The demon king's orders could not be disobeyed. The fox demon must die. The fox demon must die. Then the most extreme view began to appear. It was better to kill 10,000 innocents than to let one fox demon go. As this discussion became more and more intense, 1/3 of the entire demon emperor's realm was gradually affected. When the demon king heard the news, he became even more furious, and gave another strict order. We must capture the fox demon at all costs. If the Phoenix Emperor did not go to the Fox Emperor's side, with his intelligence, he would definitely stop it. As for the other demons, even if they felt that something was wrong, they did not dare to face the enraged Demon King. In reality, the demon race would not only have the Phoenix Emperor as a wise person. Many demons had already seen through the trap. However, no matter if it was a human or a demon, as long as they were intelligent, they would habitually want to make use of the current situation to benefit themselves. Many demons with hearts had even used the current evil wind to set up a killing trap, targeting their mortal enemies. This had indirectly caused the evil wind to grow stronger day by day, and it was difficult to stop. This situation continued until the Fox Emperor and the Phoenix Emperor hurried to the Demon Emperor's palace. Along the way, the Phoenix Emperor and the Fox Emperor discussed the current situation. They did not travel very quickly, and only when they reached the inner lands of the Demon Peacock Emperor's realm did they realize that the demonic wind had already reached a considerable scale. They walked for another 10,000 miles, and what they saw along the way was even more tragic. The Phoenix Emperor reacted quickly, and came to a conclusion. This was bad. There was a huge hidden danger in the Demon Emperor's order. Once it was used by the demons, it would lead to a great disaster, and the consequences would be dire. Return immediately. 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 The Phoenix Emperor was burning with anxiety, and did not hesitate to expend a large amount of inner yuan to once again use a mysterious technique. He directly tore apart the space, and instantly returned to the Demon Emperor's palace, and just happened to bump into the enraged Demon Emperor. It's just a demon fox, yet it managed to turn the world upside down. Investigate. Investigate thoroughly. Even if we have to scrape the ground and turn the entire Demon Emperor's realm upside down, we must find the fox demon, tear her into pieces, and burn her to ashes. A bunch of useless things. You can't even catch a small fox demon. What are you all doing? Why are you still not going out to investigate? Why are you standing here like a block of wood? Haven't you all heard enough of my scolding? Investigate. 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 The figure flashed. The Phoenix Emperor and the Fox Emperor landed in the main hall, and the Phoenix Emperor's anxious voice sounded. Your Majesty, please calm down. Then he said hurriedly, leave this matter to me. The Phoenix Emperor's voice was mixed with the calmness of an iceberg, and it smashed down. It caused all the higher-ups of the demon race in the main hall to calm down for a moment. The Demon Emperor, who was in a state of rage, actually calmed down because of this. This was the secret of the Phoenix race, heavenly voice of the divine Phoenix. It was best at shocking the soul and stirring the heart. The Demon Emperor turned his head to look, and saw the Fox Emperor in a fluttering green robe. His emotions that had just calmed down suddenly exploded again, and he roared angrily. Nine-tailed White! What the hell are you doing? The Fox Emperor said coldly. When did I ever do anything? The one who is doing anything is your Majesty. I only have one question to ask. What is your Majesty Demon Emperor's intention? You have sent 10 great sages at one go, and with such great fanfare to denounce us. Do you want to directly exterminate the fox race? The Demon Emperor was enraged. Nonsense! How could there be such a thing? The Fox Emperor said angrily. How could there be such a thing? The truth was right in front of him. Even if the Demon Emperor's words were law, could he change the truth? The truth is, Azure Dragon led the team, and after he went there, he directly killed my son with one palm strike, and then smashed the entire Fox Palace into pieces, causing countless deaths and injuries. He even wanted to capture all the demons of the royal race. He said that the fox race was rebelling, and that the entire fox race should be exterminated. Your Majesty Demon Emperor, could it be that this was not an order from you? The Demon Emperor was enraged. I did not give such an order. The Fox Emperor waved his hand and laughed coldly. Ha 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 ha. The few of you come out. I want to ask your Majesty Demon Emperor what exactly happened. Could it be that the few of you colluded with Azure Dragon and issued a false imperial decree to exterminate the fox race? The expressions of the 9 great sages of the royal family law enforcement team were all extremely ugly, and they all stood in the main hall. The Demon Emperor roared. Tell me, did I say that I wanted to exterminate the fox race? The mouths of the 9 great sages twitched. Indeed, you did not directly say that you wanted to exterminate the fox race, but you said that you were going to deal with them easily. With this title, so what if you exterminated the fox race? Especially, you directly let Azure Dragon lead the team? Who didn't think that there was a deeper meaning behind it? Or was this the scheming of a monarch? Who dared to question it? But at this moment, all the demons lowered their heads and didn't speak. Everyone knew that if they argued at this moment, they would be wrong even if they were right, and even more wrong if they were wrong. The more they spoke, the more wrong they would be. Not speaking was the right thing to do, and it was the only way to preserve their lives. At the side, the Phoenix Emperor sighed and said in a deep voice, Indeed, we have to deal with this matter first. Your Majesty, did you say that you wanted to exterminate the fox race? I'm sure you didn't, but what did you instruct at that time? You should know what you are doing, right? His tone became heavier as he said, Azure Dragon and Nine-Tailed White have been enemies for hundreds of thousands of years, as well as enemies of love. I wonder if you have considered this point? The Demon Emperor was flabbergasted. After a while, he flew into a rage. How many years has it been? May I ask your Majesty, what did you say at that time? Did you instruct that Azure Dragon to deal with my fox race? The Demon Emperor stammered, his face flushed red. He argued irrationally. I did say that I would let him deal with me according to the situation, but... The Fox Emperor laughed coldly. You told my enemy to deal with me according to the situation? What's the difference between that and telling him to kill me? The Demon Emperor opened his mouth and wanted to speak, but he couldn't speak for a long while. After a long while he said hatefully, If you didn't do this, why would I have to? At this point he sighed. Then he said with some irritation, What else can I say? Hurry up and deal with this matter first. Where's Azure Dragon? I told him to look for you, but he did such a thing. I won't forgive him. The Fox Emperor and the Phoenix Emperor heaved a sigh of relief at the same time. They knew that the Demon Emperor had said this to express his intention of admitting defeat and apologizing. And the Fox Emperor and the Phoenix Emperor's goal would be achieved.